stinging slap snaps the boy awake. Looming over him is his dad, the Marquis, eyes burning with pure disappointment. Spitting facts, he's the family's biggest disgrace. But here's the plot twist they didn't see coming. Yurin actually possesses god-tier martial arts potential. Too bad right now, he's just a powerless overweight loser stuck in the kingdom of crisis. Smash cut to the northern border. Chaos. Duke Elian stares in horror, screaming, "This can't be real." A tsunami of the undead surges forward, numbers off the charts. And that toxic nightmare fog, it's choking everything. Duke eyes up, a soldier yells. Elian freezes. It's Durian the Undead Knight, a literal raid boss. Even the top 10 living knights would struggle against this beast. Elian knows they're outmatched. Fall back, we need to regroup. But Elian realizes there's nowhere to go. The wall's compromised. If that gate breaches, it's game over for the kingdom. They have to hold the line, whatever the cost. Suddenly, whoosh, a rider blasts past him, crimson cape whipping in the wind. He dominates the battlefield instantly. Who's the maniac charging in solo? Elian demands. The soldier squints. It's backup from the Southern Rocks Marcus 8. That's Yurin Rocks, the dagger specialist. The soldier panics. He's fighting Durian with a knife. That won't scratch him. Then thwack. The blade buries itself straight into the zombie's eye socket. It sinks deep, slicing the undead head clean off. Elian's jaw hits the floor. Is Durian melting? How is that even physically possible? Yurin just keeps unleashing a storm of daggers. Every hit triggers instant disintegration. One strike and these monsters turn to goo. The troops are staring like he's a divine savior sent from heaven. Yurin scoffs internally. Please don't be ridiculous. If it boosts my health, I'm taking it. Flashback time 6 months ago. A sudden jolt creates a rude awakening. Disoriented, he scans the room. A maid steps in. Young Master Yurin looks up, dazed. Whoa, total stunner. Wait, why is she dressed like a cosplayer carrying a literal sword? How are you feeling, young master? She asks, rushing to get a priest. Yurin reaches out, trying to grab her attention. Hey, hold on, just one question. Too late. She's gone. He drags himself out of bed, totally lost. Where the hell am I? He glances sideways. The mirror reflects a stranger. A heavy, unfamiliar body. Where did his handsome abs go? Why is he suddenly this chubby kid? Denial kicks in hard. This is a dream. Definitely a lucid dream. He dives back into bed. Just gotta sleep it off. Nope. A priest hovers over him. He's awake. Then, a furious man storms in. You little bastard. The family embarrassment finally decides to wake up. The priest tries to intervene. My lord, give him a second, he just came to. Hold the punishment. The dad grumbles but backs off. The priest continues. Honestly, for someone beaten into a coma, he's surprisingly intact. Mind is clear, wounds are healing. It's a miracle. But, the lord explodes again. Better if he died. The trash was sexually harassing his own fiancée. He's an animal, 19 years old and acting like this. Look at his little brother, he already awakened his aura. Meanwhile, this useless lump has zero energy. Yurin blinks, processing the info. Wait, what? The lord points a finger. Once you can walk, you crawl to her and beg forgiveness. Yurin is lost. Her. Your future wife Ilya, and if she doesn't forgive you, the real punishment begins. Got it, Yurin nods, terrified. I guess, the lord isn't done. Stop ruining this family's reputation. Yurin shakes, piecing it together. Wait, Wellington Rocks, is that who I am? Wellington, the lord snaps. Did you just call your father by his first name, you brat? Whack. Another slap to the face. The beating continues for a solid 10 seconds. The priest fails to stop the rage. Yurin's internal monologue screams, this cannot be real. Wake up, fade to black. Later he jolts up again, gasping. Still in the fantasy room. Why isn't he back in reality? The maid returns. Awake again, Yurin guesses. Yes, young master, she answers, confused. Yurin cuts to the chase. So, I'm stuck here because I crept on Ilya and got knocked cold. Aaron nods, but looks weirded out. Why are you speaking so politely all of a sudden? Yurin ignores it. Did I really get beat that bad? To be precise, Aaron clarifies. You tried to touch Miss Ilya, and she beat you into a coma. Damn it, he screams, scaring the maid. He's absolutely screwed. There's no doubt now. He's been transmigrated into his own web novel. But fate played a cruel joke. He's not the hero. He is the trash-tier villain. The one who humiliates the MC and dies a pathetic, miserable death. This can't be happening, he wails. Young Master Aaron asks, but he's too busy having a complete mental breakdown. Not a webtoon, Yurin mutters, dropping a term completely alien to the woman staring at him. He's stuck in a trash-tier vessel, zero talent, zero skill, and a work ethic that doesn't exist. A total waste of space. A Nepo baby riding his family's coattails, he gets dumped by his fiancée for the real hero. Fueled by spite, he attempts a cheap ambush, but gets absolutely wrecked and dies like a dog in some random alley. Now Yurin's panicking. How does he survive this unforgiving nightmare? It's a fantasy world, sure, but he's flying blind regarding this overweight body's actual capabilities. But he's got the cheat codes. He knows where the legendary loot and hidden encounters are, before the main character even finds them. Time to speedrun this prep phase. He tries to sit up, but gravity fights back. His heavy frame wobbles, completely throwing off his balance. Young master, are you all right? Eren asks. Yuren's about to say, hell no, but then his vision glitches. Something's off. You need rest, she insists. But he's distracted. He couldn't see it a second ago, which explains his earlier confusion. A holographic interface hovers right next to Eren. It lists her stats: swift sword, clear mind, mirror, aura, adaptation. He's seeing her character sheet. She calls out to him again, breaking his trance. Just spaced out for a second, Yuren lies, waving her off. I'm good. Get back to work. Eren nods and pivots to leave. As she walks away, Yuren's mind races, fixated on that swift sword tag. In the original lore, she was an OP knight way above average. But the UI showed something else, an affinity meter. And it was sitting at a flat 0. Is this a dating sim mechanic because he was a gamer back home? Seriously, what kind of messed up genre mashup is this world? He pauses. 0 isn't negative. Considering the original Yuren was a total jerk, neutral territory is basically a miracle. Forget the maid though. He scrambles to a mirror, staring at his reflection, willing the system interface to pop up for him. Yes, he shouts, pumping a fist. The blue screen flickers into existence, displaying Eye of Creation and Four Heavens of the Tang Clan. He expected perks, but the Tang Clan arts, that's straight out of his favorite martial arts webtoon. He only read it because the heroine was a total baddie, but he remembers the lore masters of poison and hidden weapons. This world is a chaotic remix of genres. He needs to play this cool. If he can actually master the Tang Clan's secret arts, his survival odds skyrocket. We're talking about the legendary Sichuan sect Absolute Apex Predators. In the novels, they were the kings of silent assassination and lethal toxins. But why is Eastern martial arts magic inside a Western fantasy setting? It breaks every rule of medieval fantasy, but who cares? It means he can level up. Meanwhile, Wellington strides down the hallway toward his room, until Eren stops him with a formal greeting. Is the boy awake? The father asks. She nods, confirmation. How is he? Wellington asks. Eren hesitates. Not great. He collapsed, just trying to stand up. Overall condition is weak. Wellington frowns. Father Elio said, the physical wound was shallow, but something about his son's behavior feels off. In the past, telling him to apologize to Ilya would trigger a massive screaming tantrum. This time, he just took it. Silence. Wellington figures the kid hasn't changed. He's probably just concussed or dazed. Give it a day. By tomorrow, he'll be back to his raging, revenge-obsessed self. He will improve. My lord, Eren offered softly. Wellington spins around, annoyed, his cold glare shocking her. I'm his father, and even I've given up on him. Brutal. Yet Eren holds on to a sliver of hope. Wellington sighs. He should just release her from service, let her be a real knight, instead of babysitting a failure. It must be hell, serving Yuren. But Eren isn't so sure. Today the young master didn't feel like the same monster. The vibe had shifted. Cut back to Yuren. Eren is staring at him confused. What did you say? Exercise? He repeats. I just want to work out. Show me where to go. Eren blinks, stunned. Right now, you want to train. Yuren locks eyes with her. Is that a problem? The creator's eye shows him the data, but the Tang Clan arts are grayed out. He has no clue how to unlock the skill tree yet. It has to be the weight holding him back. Step 1, cardio. As they move, Yuren realizes the mansion is absurdly huge, like 5 stadiums, huge, and he's gassed just walking the hall. But he can't train in his room, because his body will gravitate right back to the mattress. He needs a change of scenery. As they walk, every servant they pass looks at him like he's a cockroach. Pure disgust. Honestly, considering Yuren's track record, he can't even be mad. He earned that hate. Are we there yet? He wheezes. Almost, Eren replies. They arrive at the 3rd training center. The reject gym real knights use the first 2. Suddenly Yuren freezes. A figure blocks his path. The interface flashes, affinity -91. That's kill on sight levels of hatred. It's Rekka Olin. The man sneers, calling out, well, look who it is. Lost your way to the kitchen. Young Master Yuren clocks him instantly. Rekka laughs, a sharp mocking sound. What an honor. That you still remember a nobody like me. Yuren nods, eyes darting to the blade at Rika's hip. Panic spikes. He suddenly snaps Eren. Did I do something to this guy? Eren looks at him bewildered. You don't remember, my lord, a few years ago. Back when the Marquis tried to force some discipline into him, the old Yuren snapped. He dragged in Rekka, a rookie knight, for a little sparring session. Then, laughing like a maniac, he slashed the knight's face open with a live blade. That was the day the Marquis gave up on him. Present-day Yuren grips his head, screaming, no freaking way I did that. Rekka side-eyes him, disgust written all over his face. He thinks Yuren is absolute trash. Sensing the heat, Yuren decides it is time to get out of there. He asks if there is a secluded dojo somewhere he can grind solo. Eren points out the 4th training hall. It is way out in the boonies, and the gear is rusted junk, so nobody goes there. Yuren grins. Perfect. That is exactly the kind of privacy he needs. If he is going to shred this weight, he needs 0 distractions. The bodyguard shrugs and tells him to keep up. By the time they reach the hall, Yuren is wheezing like a broken accordion. He spots a weapon rack loaded with dusty gear. His brain starts ticking. The Tang clan of Sichuan is famous for throwing knives. Maybe he can trigger the skill unlock here. He locks eyes with a target dummy. Channeling his inner assassin, he raises a dagger aiming for a bullseye. He winds up and hurls it with everything he has, clunk. The dagger barely flies 3 feet and hits the dirt. Total airball. He curses under his breath. Why didn't the skill trigger? Then he realizes Eren is watching. Just testing the balance. He lies smoothly. Okay, change of plans. Cardio first. He decides to run laps until his lungs burn. He tells Eren he is training solo, so she can go chill. Wellington hears the report and literally cannot believe his ears. Yuren, the lazy bum, actually at the training grounds, and putting in work, it is suspicious. He figures the kid will quit in a day. But 3 weeks fly by. The report comes in. The boy has been non-stop grinding for 21 days straight. The fat is melting off, and the glow-up is real. Without the extra weight, the kid is actually a heartthrob. Genetics are finally kicking in. The Lord wonders if his son has finally grown a spine. Back at the castle, Yuren checks his reflection. He is slimmer, sure, but that Tang clan technique is still locked tight. He gives it 1 month. If the system doesn't pay up, he is going to hijack. Some of the main characters' lucky breaks. Eren walks in with dinner. Soup's up, she says. It is chirain soup again. A nutrient bomb designed to torch fat and stack muscle. Yuren groans, staring at the bowl. Eren raises an eyebrow. You sick of it? Yuren nods. He has been chugging this green sludge for 3 weeks straight. The guard cuts to the chase. What do you want, young master? To stay soft, or to become a knight? Yuren sighs. A knight, obviously. Eren reminds him that even the Marquis downs this stuff. Post-workout. It is the breakfast of champions. So quit whining and eat, she implies. Yuren reluctantly surrenders. You live and you learn, he mutters, wondering what kind of ancient bro science this is. Whatever. It is working on the fat, so he will tolerate it. He scoops up a spoonful and shoves it in his mouth. Wait. Yuren freezes. The flavor profile is off. Today's batch tastes funny. Ping, a bright blue system window, flashes warning poison ingested. But then a second window overlaps it. Achievement unlocked. Tang clan of Sichuan conditions met. He stares at the screen. He literally just unlocked the poison arts by getting poisoned. Meanwhile, a knock echoes on the Marquis' door. Enter, he commands. It is Kaina, his second wife, playing the role of the dutiful spouse with a tea tray. She catches him staring into space. Penny for your thoughts, Wellington smiles, saying he was just admiring the garden view. Kaina beams, bragging that she has been tending to the flowers personally. Her husband praises her green thumb, but then she wraps her arms around him from behind, the sweetness dropping. So about Colin becoming the heir. We talked about this. Since it is a done deal, why not make it official now? Wellington stiffens and pulls away. Not yet, Kaina. We need more time. Her smile falters. Why? You said you would announce it last month. The Lord nods but gives her a sharp look. You have heard the rumors, haven't you? Yuren has woken up. He is the eldest. If he actually commits to this new path, he could be a worthy successor. Kaina forces a nod. Right. I heard. It is amazing. She plays the relieved stepmom. I was so worried about him. You must be thrilled. Wellington chuckles. Funny how getting dumped was the slap in the face he needed. Kaina presses again. But what about the succession? The Lord holds his ground. It has only been 3 weeks. I need to see if this is real or just a phase. But hear this. If he slides back into his old habits, Colin gets the title instantly. Kaina bows. I will let you work. She keeps her composure until the door clicks shut behind her. Then her face twists. She bites her lip until it almost bleeds. Yuren. She hisses, eyes burning with malice. Just you wait. Inside, Yuren is too busy staring at his new skill to notice the target on his back. Then he drops the lore. The Sichuan Tong clan are absolute masters of toxicity, and the unlock key. He has to voluntarily down a lethal dose. But hold up. He freezes, zooming in on the soup's stats again. There's a glitchy icon and he needs to see the data hidden above it. Eye contact scrolls the text. Boom. There it is. A Hanyang herb spiked with a paralysis agent. The kid's practically vibrating with excitement. Eren is totally lost, wondering why her young master is staring at his dinner instead of eating it. Yuren finally speaks up. Time to feast. He shovels another spoonful in. As he chews, his brain is running a mile a minute. Who scripted this assassination attempt? In the original canon, Eren doesn't go out like this. The plot has derailed. Someone messed with the timeline. Wait, a missing event. He flashes back to his dad standing next to Colin. Why was the official heir announcement delayed? Was it because he started leveling up? Doesn't matter. The killer is definitely from that faction. He swallows the last drop. Ping, a blue system screen flares to life in his vision. Achievement unlocked. Weak paralysis conditions met. The boy slams the bowl down. All done. He's literally crying tears of joy over the XP gain. Eren is shook. Yurin cuts the tension, telling her he needs some solo time, and dismisses her. The bodyguard doesn't push it. She tells him to get some sleep and promises to check in tomorrow. Yurin nods, wishing her a good night. As soon as the door clicks shut, the act drops. He spins toward the mirror. Let's see what the Tang clan has to offer. Creator's Eye activate. The HUD populates his stats. The synchronization rate has dipped to 97%. Yurin admires the sleek interface. He focuses hard on the glowing pluses icon and jackpot. 3 new skill trees, poison martial arts, and hidden weapons. He clicks the poison tab first. It's a grind, only the weak paralysis skill is currently unlocked. Problem, he has 0 internal mana. The protagonist remembers the lore. This skill tree is deep, digging all the way down to the abyss. At the very bottom, the legendary invisibility poison. But it's a tier system. He can't skip levels. To use even the basic stuff, he needs an energy core. It tracks the Tang clan always infused their brews with pure internal chi. Time to check the martial arts tab. 3 paths lie before him, the black poison arts, the thunder needle, and the divine energy of 10,000 poisons. For a hardcore wuxia fan like Yurin, this is a no-brainer. Black poison is pure toxicity. Thunder needle is for gearheads and gadget users. But the divine energy technique, it's the late-game carry, takes forever to level up, but it buffs both his poison stats and his hidden weapon mastery. He smashes that confirm button. Instantly, a surge of power downloads into his body. Yurin is floored. The ancient mantras aren't just text. They're being burned directly into his muscle memory. No time to waste. Shirt off, lotus position on the bed. He starts channeling the energy into his dantian immediately. A weird sensation ripples through his veins. That's the chi. He has to steer it through his meridians and bank it in his core to build his internal strength. Fade to black. The sun rises on a new day. Unreal. Those cultivation novels weren't lying about the no-sleep all-gains lifestyle. This is real life. He's not tired. He's electric. His body is humming with raw power. He can feel the chi swirling around him like a force field. His radar is online. He knows exactly how many birds are chirping outside without even turning his head. His dantian is burning warm. And now he just thinks about circulating chi, and the status window pops open in his mind. No mirror required. Rank 1 star. The protagonist senses a familiar presence approaching. He glances at the door just as Aaron swings it open, calling out for her young master. She's here for the morning wake-up call, but she stops dead. He looks pristine. Clearly he didn't sleep. Yurin shrugs it off. Just one of those nights. She frowns. That's not healthy. She tries to bench him from training. The protagonist shuts that down. Nope, I'm already dressed. He feels like a god, and he needs to test this new build. Aaron sighs, defeated, and goes to prep breakfast. As she leaves, she's confused. Since when did the young master start looking so shredded? Cut to the training grounds. Yurin steps up to the table of daggers. Let's test the theory. He grips a blade, winds up to throw. And the world shifts. A literal HUD crosshair appears in his vision. It's just like a first-person shooter game. Auto-aim engaged. He moves with supernatural speed while Aaron watches from the sidelines looking worried. Yurin launches the weapon. It streaks through the air with a purple trail thwack bullseye. I actually did it. Even the guard is impressed. The protagonist isn't done. He triggers the system's hidden weapon skills. Aaron gasps. Young master, what was that move? He plays dumb. Beats me. Guess last month's cardio is finally paying off. She yells, no way. She is absolutely mind-blown. Yurin smirks to himself. He's never seen her lose her cool like this. Maybe he should show off a little more. He grips the handle tight, locking in his focus. He visualizes the trajectory. A surge of raw power erupts from his dantian, pure adrenaline, mixed with internal energy. This isn't just a throw. He's about to launch a missile. He fires. The dagger screams through the air and buries itself dead center. The impact is so violent the target literally snaps in half. Aaron is absolutely shook, eyes wide as saucers. The protagonist, he just keeps that cool, confident smirk plastered on his face. Honestly, having a visual crosshair is like using aimbot in real life. Total cheat code. Reminds him of the old days grinding Battle Attack, that first-person shooter. He wasn't just a casual. He dominated the local LAN tournament back then. Aaron looks at him like he's speaking an alien language. He turns to her, asking if she senses a vibe shift. The guard just blinks, totally missing the magical aura radiating off him. She shrugs, admitting he looks snatched compared to yesterday, but that's about it. No aura detection. Weight loss, he asks, disappointed. Aaron nods, enthusiastically crediting the daily grind and that nasty chirain soup. But today the transformation is on another level. He's confused. Can she seriously not feel the massive energy swirling inside him? That confirms it. In this world, he's the only one with this interface. The internal energy is his solo stealth buff. Infinite power, undetectable by enemies. He chuckles darkly. Time to grind. He rapid fires 2 more shots. Bullseye, bullseye. Too easy. Watch this, he murmurs. He's going for a trick shot. He lines up his throw against a dagger already stuck in the wood. Crack. He splits the handle of the first dagger perfectly. Robin Hood style, he thinks. His guard is losing her mind. She asks for a turn. She steps up, channeling all her strength into the throw. It's a total whiff. The blade clatters uselessly against the side of the target. Yurin points out her form is off. She pouts, frustrated, but suddenly the protagonist spots a glitch in the matrix. A holographic status window pops up right over her head. Notification. She just unlocked the direct cut skill. He reads the fine print, executable, with any weapon. He's got to beta test this immediately. Aaron is still fuming about her aim. Let me borrow that, he says, eyeing the trash. He tells Aaron to back up. She's confused, staring at his hand. He's holding a jagged, broken wooden sword. He raises it high, feeling a massive torrent of mana surging from his gut to his grip. It flows like electricity. He swings the stick, triggering the direct cut skill command. Boom. The wooden scrap slams into the target, detonating the center and shattering the surrounding frame. Aaron is stunned into silence. What kind of sorcery was that, she screams. She demands to know what secret technique the young master is hiding. Yurin shrugs it off. Dunno. Just practice, I guess. His bodyguard isn't buying that for a second. That was impossible. He gets serious. Look, I know you snitched to my dad about my training. He needs a solid favor. Keep this on the down low for a bit. Aaron hesitates, but Yuren insists he's just testing some theories. I'll explain the lore later. Just wait. She sighs, but agrees to the NDA. The rest of the day fades out. The household staff clock out, waving goodbye and promising to return tomorrow. Standard NPC behavior. Then there's this guy Peru. He follows the routine, walking calm, then abruptly switches his path. Yuren's eyes go cold. He activates the creator's eye skill to scan this suspect. HUD info pops up, name Peru. Affinity 0. Active skills, poisonous touch, agile movement. Bingo. The guy can lace food with venom. Got him. It's definitely this snake. Time for the final exam. A spiritual arrow forms in Yuren's hand, invisible to the naked eye. He whispers the paralytic hex, focusing his aura into his fingertips. Peru freezes mid-step. A wave of wrongness hits him. He spins around, face twisting in agony, screaming as his muscles lock up. The protagonist strolls up to the unconscious traitor. Test complete. The status bar shows a paralysis duration of 1 hour. He scoops the guy up like a sack of potatoes. Night falls over the estate. Peru wakes up in a world of hurt. Wakey wakey, the protagonist sneers. You lucid yet? Do you know who owns you right now? Peru is shaking like a leaf. The protagonist leans in. You want to survive. You answer me correctly. Did you poison my soup? The interrogation begins. Blink once for yes, twice for no. Understand? Peru blinks once. Good, the system works. Yuren repeats the main question. Are you the one who spiked my food? Peru stares daggers at him but finally blinks once. Confession secured. Was it the Han-Yang herb? Peru jumps, terrified he knows the specific poison. Blink. Correct again. Next question. The mastermind. Was it Marchioness Kana? Yuren expects a yes. Peru blinks twice. Denial. Don't you play games with me, he growls. I'm a human lie detector. Lie again, and you get a permanent smile carved in your neck. I'll ask one last time. Did Miss Kaina give the order? Peru is trembling with pure terror, but he blinks twice again. He's denying it. The guy wasn't capping, but Yuren wasn't ready to drop the tough guy act just yet. He needed to keep the pressure on. Swallow this. Yuren tossed him a pill. They call it the initial poison. The man downed it without blinking. Yuren leaned in, voice cold. From this second, the clock is ticking. You've got exactly 1 month to live unless you get the antidote from me. 30 days. Then your insides liquefy. If I were you, I'd start following orders very carefully. We clear, Peru nodded frantically. Yuren tapped the man's forehead, channeling energy to dissolve the paralysis holding him down. Just like that, the invisible chains snapped. You can move. You can speak, Yuren said. So let's try this again. Who put the hit out on me? Peru shivered, terrified. It was Knight Commander Livingston from the Karak faction. He wanted you dead before the year ended, an honorable soldier's death. Yuren smirked internally. Of course. Kaina's big brother. Guy only got the job because of his daddy. Whatever. Yuren shoved a crumpled shopping list into his new lackey's chest. Wait, aren't these all lethal toxins? Peru stammered, reading the paper. Yuren raised an eyebrow. Sharp kid. Most people wouldn't recognize these. A pro like you knows the black market spots. Go get everything on that list and make sure Karak foots the bill. I want every single poison here by tomorrow night, including the stash you're already carrying. But why do you need this much poison? Yuren's eyes went cold. I don't remember giving you permission to ask questions. Peru shrank back, terrified. Yuren spun on his heel to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. From now on, load my medicinal soup with Hanyang grass. Peru's jaw hit the floor. What? Back in his sanctuary, Yuren grinned. This is insane. Martial arts logic is actually broken. He totally bought the initial poison bluff. I literally just mashed up some random weeds. But playtime is over. I need to master the Tang's Four Heavens technique fast. If I stick to the original script, the world is toast. 24 hours later, Peru knocked, looking nervous. He dumped a pile of nasty-looking roots and leaves on the table. Yurin inspected the hall. Hanyang grass, reverse green creeper, and crowing leaf. Nice. Peru blinked. How do you know that? Those are incredibly rare toxins. Please, that's kindergarten stuff. Yurin lied smoothly. Actually, my status window tells me everything. Anyway, focus. Why bring the rest? Hanyang grass is deadly enough on its own. Hanyang is too slow, Peru explained. And victims build resistance. But if you cocktail it with green creeper, it hits 10 times harder. Exactly. Combine them, amplify the toxicity, and make it impossible to trace. Yurin leaned back. Where'd you pick up all this twisted knowledge? Peru looked down. I was sold to the Livingstons when I was 8. They threw 20 of us into a pit with a poison master. I'm the only one who walked out alive. You don't survive that without a natural gift for toxins. Yurin noticed the hate in Peru's eyes. He definitely doesn't love his masters. Perfect. I've got myself a weapon. Good work, Yurin said. You're dismissed. Thank you, young master. Peru bowed and slipped out into the night. Left alone, Yurin stared at the lethal buffet. Time to chow down. He grabbed a toxic root and shoved it in his mouth. He gagged. It tasted like rotting garbage. Suddenly a holographic warning flashed. Lethal toxicity detected. System critical. The system barked orders. Meditate immediately to reach level 2. Yurin clenched his teeth and forced himself into a trance. Another day passed. Aaron tapped on the door. My lord, sun's up. She froze. Usually he was asleep, but today he was sitting cross-legged surrounded by a weird aura. What in the world? Before she could finish, the system dinged. Congratulations, 2-star realm achieved. Draconic treasure art unlocked. Yurin opened his eyes, grinning like a maniac. Aaron stared at him. Young master, what did you do to yourself? Then she wrinkled her nose. Ugh. And what is that smell? Yurin scratched his head sheepish. Right. When you level up your internal energy, your body purges all the toxins and gunk. It's basically a hardcore detox. Yeah, I'm a bit ripe, he admitted, reaching for the window. Don't you dare, Aaron scolded. Straight to the bath. Now. Freshly scrubbed Yurin hit the training grounds. He started mimicking the footwork of the draconic steps. This was the Tang family's secret weapon, a movement style built for stealth kills and dodging death. I can't believe I'm actually doing this, he thought, giddy. This stuff was just ink on paper before. Now I'm living it. Aaron watched him stumble around, confused. Young master, why are you walking like you've had 10 too many drinks? Aaron spun around shouting for the young master. She demanded to know why he was stumbling around like he was totally wasted. Aaron is totally stressing over his health, checking for injuries, but the main character brushes her off. I'm good, seriously, chill out. He just chuckles, strutting down the hallway like he owns the place. Aaron is still skeptical, asking if he's actually 100%. They're headed to Training Hall 1. The place is absolutely packed with knights. Yurin assures her he's fine, he's just there to scope out the competition and see how the regulars grind. She really needs to stop panic spiraling. Aaron says they've arrived. Inside, the energy is intense, knights going full try-hard mode. Slashing drills on repeat, up down side to side. One knight pauses mid-swing, totally thrown off. Who's the fresh face? He recognizes the servant girl, sure. The absolute model walking behind her. Total mystery. Then it clicks. Jaws drop. That's the young master, the guy who used to be massive. They're wondering what kind of dark magic he pulled to shed all that weight and stop being a useless slob. Yurin catches every whisper. Doesn't matter if they keep it low volume. His internal energy picks up every insult. Yurin ignores the haters and locks eyes on one dude in the corner. Looks like an apprentice. But his form is flawless. That kid's gonna rank up to novice in no time. He's executing the foundational rock swordsmanship forms. But he's doing it right. Yurin knows exactly who he is. That's Clyde, a major player from the original novel, and a future ally for the protagonist. The author never detailed Clyde's backstory before his debut. Clyde keeps swinging, and Yurin finds it amusing to catch him in the wild like this. He'll recruit him later. Right now, it's time to turn these judgmental knights into lab rats. Since they already hate him, they make perfect test subjects. First experiment, the chain poison. Yurin picks a target purple-haired guy and silently triggers the toxin. Boom. The knight doubles over, agonizing cramps hitting him out of nowhere. His squad rushes over asking what's wrong, assuming nature is calling, urgently. But the guy shakes his head, drooling as he fights to stay conscious. He collapses, hitting the dirt. Panic spreads. Someone yells to fetch a priest. Then just as fast as it started, the pain vanishes. The captain demands answers. The victim looks confused. He's fine now. The captain thinks this idiot is pranking them and screams at him to just go use the restroom. The knight swears he was dying a second ago. Yurin smirks. Perfect. Round 2. Time to unleash the soul-dismantling mist. This one induces pure terror. Instantly, a loud bang echoes in the victim's mind. To him, the guy standing right there just morphed into a nightmare demon. Aaron watches the chaos, grown men, rolling on the floor, begging demons to spare them. What is wrong with these guys? Inside the illusion, the knight is cornered by skeletons and monsters. He's screaming curses at the void until snap, it all fades. The knights are shook. What just happened? Urine decides to show mercy before he accidentally kills someone. Test complete. Results, impressive. He announces he's heading back. Aaron blinks confused. We just got here. Urine shrugs. Too loud. He's pivoting to Hall 4, but on the way out they get intercepted. A maid rushes up. Guest arrival. Miss Ilya Marcus is here. Cut to a woman at a window. She's hyped herself up, vowing to finally crush Urine's stubbornness today. She whips around as the protagonist says her name. She freezes, cheeks flushing red. Urine asks if she's been waiting long. Ilya stares blankly. Who are you? She doesn't even know him. Before this, when the announcement came, Urine assumed his aggressive fiancé was here to start drama. Usually this is the part where she demands to cancel the wedding, and old Urine throws a tantrum, refusing to let her go. Urine figured he'd just agree this time. But back in the present, he clarifies. It's me, Urine. The girl is floored. Long time no see, he adds. Ilya stammers. She heard rumors about a training montage and weight loss, but assumed it was fake news. It hasn't even been 2 months. This transformation is insane. Urine just says hard work pays off. Ilya is spiraling. The last time they met, she beat him up. Urine explains that beatdown was a wake-up call. Ilya grips her sword. You want a rematch, is that it? But the young master shakes his head. He drops to one knee. Zero ego. He's grateful. That fight helped him fix his life, and he's genuinely sorry for being trash. If she wants to dump him now, he won't fight it. She's still processing. Asking, who is this stranger? Urine repeats it. He's the former garbage of the Rock family, and he apologizes. Ilya is stunned into silence. Internally, the protagonist knows, technically, he didn't do anything, but the previous owner of this body was a disaster, so he has to clean up the mess. It's strategic. Ilya isn't just a love interest. She's the Sword Queen. Her potential is S tier. In the original plot, she saves the hero, and Solo's the final boss. Even if the marriage is off, he needs her on his team. But Ilya interrupts his thoughts. Stand up, she demands. Are you for real, right now? He agrees to the deal, but she isn't buying it. She demands a blood oath, radiating a suffocating aura that screams death. The pressure is crushing him. Our protagonist feels like his lungs are collapsing and realizes he's seen this exact scene play out before. Ilya declares she's done living in the past. If he breaks their pact, she'll personally beat him into oblivion. The MC is totally lost. Turns out the original Ilya dropped this same line on him back in the day. Gasping for air, he desperately tries to trigger his divine body of myriad poisons. Ilya is shook when he actually stands up. She demands to know how he just face-tanked her aura like it was nothing. But our boy just flashes $1 million smile and swears the oath. Ilya blushes hard, totally caught off guard, and turns to flee. She tosses back a warning. She's watching him like a hawk. One wrong move and the engagement is toast, zero excuses. The protagonist is stunned they're even still together. Meanwhile, back at the castle, Wellington asks if she tracked down Urine. She confirms the target was located. He presses for her final verdict. Ilya doubles down. The wedding is still on. No takebacks. Wellington needs a reason. Ilya explains her dad's old saying, a leopard never changes its spots. But rumors said he had changed and she got curious. She hoped he'd reverted to the soft, gentle Urine from their childhood days. Instead, he's evolved into someone else entirely. That shift gave her a reason to roll the dice on him one last time. Wellington asks if that's the whole story. She nods. But she adds a caveat: if he ever slides back into being trash, she'll end him with her own bare hands. Wellington laughs, saying that's exactly what he expects from a top-tier warrior. He tells her to keep an eye on the kid. Ilya turns to leave, but the Lord asks her to stick around for a few days. She admits she's in a bind because she told her dad. She was about to bounce, but he shut that down. He was deep in the grind, and the last thing he wanted was her interrupting his training flow. The hours blurred by. When our boy finally faced his dad to ask why he was summoned, the old man played dumb, hitting him with the new phone who dissed treatment. The protagonist stood there, totally blanking on the question. Wellington cracked up, admitting he was just trolling and that the kid had actually been busting his back lately. But playtime was over. He demanded to know if the boy had a clue why he was there. Our hero took a wild guess. Is this about me finally starting night training? Bingo. Wellington grilled him with a stare. The kid was getting sharp. It was officially time for him to inherit the legendary Rock's family swordsmanship. But the protagonist pumped the brakes. He looked the Marquis dead in the eye. He had a different plan. His dad's expression darkened. Don't tell me this is about those throwing arts. The boy didn't flinch. He wanted daggers, not swords. He doubled down on it, but Wellington wasn't having it. Absolutely not, he barked. Unacceptable. He trashed the technique, calling it a cheap trick for dirty bandits. In his eyes, flinging knives wouldn't get you within a mile of earning knight's armor. You couldn't even scratch a low-tier scrub like a Barak with that garbage. That's when our MC threw down the gauntlet. Let's make a bet. I'll hunt a Barak right now. Just me and my dagger. If the old man was so sure it was impossible, Why not put money on it? His father let out a heavy sigh, clearly annoyed by how hard-headed his son was being. Here's the deal. A warrior's blade needs aura to crush a barrack's scales. Unless this kid practiced throwing for 100 years, that dagger was going to bounce right off. But the protagonist smirked, using his dad's logic against him. If victory is that impossible for me, then you've got nothing to lose. Take the bet. His father called him reckless, but the trap was sprung. He decided to accept, planning to use this failure to crush that rebellious streak once and for all. Name your terms, Wellington demanded. The boy didn't hesitate. If he dropped a barack with just a dagger, he got total control over his own training curriculum, and if he crashed and burned, he'd be his father's puppet forever. Later, the protagonist realized he'd dodged a bullet. Thank God Aaron kept her mouth shut about his secret training. The real showdown was set for tomorrow. His mind was racing, calculating exactly how many strikes it would take to crack that monster's defense. He couldn't leave anything to chance. Tonight, he'd feast on toxic herbs and boost his divine body of myriad poisons to 3 stars. Suddenly, a noise snapped him out of his trance. It was Erin again. She wasn't just checking in. She had official orders from the Marquis. Tomorrow, 12 o'clock sharp, the battlefield, the first training center. He looked at her skeptical. Do you know about the bet too? Erin didn't just know she had news for him. It wasn't a secret. The entire estate knew. And thanks to that little rumor, every servant and guard was laughing their heads off at his suicide mission. The rumor mill is absolutely on fire, with everyone placing bets that the young master is going to soil his armor or turn tail the second a barack shows its ugly face. And the mob is loving every second of the trash talk. I mean, let's be real, the guy is still the server's public enemy #1. Euron realizes this means the whole world is tuning in tomorrow, and Aaron nods in agreement. The Marquis isn't about to let this hype train slow down. The training center is going to be standing room only. Our boy just sighs, grumbling that this is the heavy price you pay for this level of clout. But he needs a vibe check from Erin. She doesn't hesitate. She predicts this won't be a disaster, but the young master's absolute main character moment. Just in time, his divine body of myriad poisons technique dings level 3, and the moment of truth finally drops. The crowd goes feral, a chaotic mix of cheers and jeers echoing through the arena, while Euron looks like she's dying of secondhand embarrassment. His old man kicks off the event, demanding to know if his son is locked in. The young master confirms he's ready to roll, but he points out the massive audience. Wellington swears he only spilled the tea to his mage, but somehow that leak went viral instantly. He's got to shake off the cringe. It's showtime. The mage steps up, announcing the start as he channels that short-range summoning art. Euron's eyes go wide. He's finally witnessing real magic in 4K. Bam! A lightning bolt tears through the battlefield, and something massive starts taking shape in the smoke. But Euron, he's seeing something even crazier than magic. It's a beast straight out of his own novel, standing right there, the Borak, 5 feet of aquatic nightmare fuel. The crowd recoils, terrified to even look at it, but the protagonist is just vibing. It looks exactly like he imagined. Fun fact, he dreamed up this monstrosity, the Borak, while chowing down on some pufferfish sashimi. Dude was overflowing with creature concepts. Honestly, take away the creepy limbs and it's almost kawaii. Okay, maybe not. The beast lunges. Euron clocks the attack instantly, slipping behind the creature like a glitch in the Matrix. The audience gasps, impressed, but the Lord warns it's not over. The Borak spins around, looking totally bamboozled. Euron analyzes the move. He reacted on pure instinct, but his physical speed is definitely lagging behind his imagination. Time to capability test those scales. He draws a dagger, and suddenly his vision shifts. A target reticle appears, highlighting a critical weak point on the beast. Game on. He winds up deciding to trust the system. He channels his ki into the blade and launches it. Thwack bullseye. The Borak screeches in agony, face planting into the dirt. Lights out. So much for the show. Euron sighs, complaining about the lack of drama. One hit. Seriously, the crowd is losing their minds, and even Wellington's jaw is on the floor. Everyone starts chanting for the young master. He actually pulled it off. He soloed the Borak, and he looked icy doing it. The applause is deafening until a voice cuts through. You lucky brat. How did you do that? Euron shrugs, claiming he just aimed and fired. His dad is livid, refusing to accept the results. A legendary monster deleted by a simple dagger? Impossible. Euron stares him down. Is the great Marquis rocks. Welching on a bet, the mage steps in with the receipts. There was a tiny scaleless patch under the beast's arm, and the kid sniped it perfectly. Wellington cries pure luck, but Euron stands firm. A bet is a bet. His father demands a runback. One more round. He raises the stakes. If Euron wins this time, name the wish. And it's granted. But if he loses, it's back to sword training hell per the agreement. That gets Euron's attention. Dad clarifies the terms. This time the opponent is a knight, not a monster. You accepting Euron, doesn't hesitate. Yes. In fact, this works out better. It's his chance. He was preparing to deal with Commander Karox anyway. He briefly wonders if he should shatter the guy's ego now, but decides to save his toxic trump card for later and let the big guy slide. Wellington interrupts, saying a full night is overkill. Let's feed him an apprentice instead. Keep it fair. Uren thinks it over. Can he pick the victim? I choose Clyde. The man struts into the arena, sword strapped to his back. He announces the Marquis summoned him. Wellington notes the swagger he's about to give Clyde a specific mission. The apprentice bows. I obey the Lord's command. The order, humble that kid. Clyde turns ready to intimidate. The young master just gives him a chill nod, leaving the swordsman completely confused. Wellington snaps. Cold feet. Clyde shakes it off. I'll do as ordered. Uren drops the rules. Don't stress, bro. I'm throwing 3 daggers. You block all 3. You get the dub. Wellington scoffs at the arrogance. Teach him a real lesson, Clyde. Clyde drops into a stance. Uren circles like a shark. The knights on the sidelines start roasting him. You lose. No dinner tonight. And you're running 100 laps. Suddenly, a girl's voice cuts through the noise, cheering for the young master. Uren smirks, whoever that is. She's on the right team. Clyde shouts. Ready. Uren spins around. He preps dagger number 1. Plan A, knock the lights out. But wait, he pauses. Compared to the monster, this guy's full of holes. Hitting a vital point now would be an instant delete. He can't scrub the guy out just yet. He adjusts his aim and lets it fly. Clyde grunts. Nice try. Bringing his sword up to block. Boom! The impact sounds like a literal cannon blast, shoving Clyde back 4 massive steps. The crowd gasps. Wellington freezes as the dagger clatters to the floor. He grips the hilt, mind reeling at how a basic dagger could channel this much raw juice. Clyde is shaking in his boots, staring at his sword that just got punched through. Our MC smirks, asking if the guy is finally warmed up. He warns him, drop your guard for a second, and you'll see exactly what happens. Cause this time, he's holding nothing back. He unleashes a crushing pressure that makes the aspiring knight quake in his armor. Uren knows he's the main character for a reason. No way is he taking an L here. He decides it's go time, prepping his dagger for a direct strike. Another sonic boom rips through the air, headed straight for the knight. Clyde tries to tank the hit with his longsword, but a deafening crash drowns out the entire arena. As the smoke clears, the crowd is left with their jaws on the floor. The Marquis is stunned. Clyde has collapsed to his knees. The guy is trembling with pure terror. His blade snapped clean in 2. He drops the pieces, leaving Marquis Wellington completely speechless. He tries to call Uren over for a chat, just family business. But the protagonist isn't done. Match isn't over, he says. He's still got 1 dagger left in the clip. The Marquis tries to call it off, saying enough is enough, but Uren ignores him to address the fighter directly. Heads up, soldier, he barks at his young master. Uren challenges him right there. He asks if he's really going to end the battle, looking like a loser. Would a future knight really accept that kind of humiliation? Win or lose, a real knight swings until the bitter end. That is the code. He shouts at Clyde one last time, demanding to know if he's quitting. The knight mutters something, calling for his master, but then he snaps. He orders a fresh sword. He stands up, exploding with energy, declaring he won't back down. The knights are shook, and the Marquis is panicking. How is a rookie awakening an aura like that? Uren grins, just as planned. Pushed to the brink, Clyde's berserker skill finally unlocked. Now he can test the big league techniques. Intense stare-down ensues. Clyde yells for the young master to bring it, telling him to throw the dagger. Wellington can't process this. That amount of aura, that's high-ranking knight talent. He wonders what Uren's play is, and the MC just thinks good. He pours every ounce of strength into the last dagger and tosses it. Awkwardly, it wobbles toward the man. Clyde is baffled why so slow. He screams that Uren is just trolling him now. He slashes at the dagger to swat it away, but the blade swerves like a snake, dodging his sword completely. He's confused, but Wellington clocks the technique immediately. The dagger buries itself in Clyde's shoulder. It nearly scrapes the bone, sending the knight into agonizing shock. He drops to the dirt, groaning. The crowd is skeptical, calling the throw weak and slow. They start whispering, saying Clyde is overacting and asking if he's flopping just because his opponent is the boss's son. The protagonist knows better. That blade was packed with internal energy, pure torture. His dad steps in, saying, "We'll talk later. You won the bet." The MC flashes a cocky smile. Clyde is writhing in pain, but the protagonist taps him. "Hold up a sec," he says. He triggers energy absorption. Clyde feels the agony vanish instantly. He's stunned and thanks the young master, but Uren waves it off. The knight begs for forgiveness. He explains that when the dagger floated in slowly, he thought it was an insult. But he was wrong. It was a god-tier technique. No master learns that. In such a short time, he realizes Uren must have been hiding his true power level all along. He asks if there's a secret faction targeting the family and if Uren was playing the fool to protect them. It all makes sense now why it seemed weird, that only the young master was left behind. A noble sacrifice, Uren rolls his eyes internally. This guy loves his conspiracy theories. Clyde praises the young master's act. He swears that when Uren fights this secret organization, he just needs to say the word. The protagonist wonders when he maxed out this guy's loyalty stats. He plays along, saying, "Catch you later." Figuring a simple-minded tank with a good heart is a solid asset. Clyde tells him to trust him, he's gonna spread the word. That the young master was never trash. He'll fix the rumors. Keeping Clyde close is definitely a strategic win. One day he'll be able to solo missions, which is huge. Aaron walks up, admitting the young master put in work. Yurin thanks her. She mentions that final move, admitting she's never seen anything like it. The protagonist claims it's a new skill, and asks for her take. Aaron admits that watching it she realized if she had faced that, without seeing it first, she would have taken the L. But now, she's sure she can block it. Yurin knows she isn't bluffing. Her mirror of a quiet mind trait is rare and OP. Yurin nods, acknowledging she's truly training like a knight. She was born for the blade. If she wasn't guarding him, she'd be leading a charge somewhere. He hits her with a heavy question. You happy with this life? Yurin is totally thrown off by the deep talk. Cut to later, Wellington is chilling in his office when our main character strides in. Why the summon Marquis? Wellington rolls his eyes. Don't be an idiot. We're alone. Drop the titles and call me Dad. Way to kill the vibe, old man. Yurin just nods, internally confused. Then Wellington gets serious. That move you pulled yesterday. What was it? I've raided every library and I've never seen a technique like that. You've been training for what, a month? Even a prodigy can't just invent god-tier moves out of thin air. He slams his hand down. What really happened? I want the truth. Yuren's brain goes into overdrive. Can't spill the real beans. Time for a cover story. I found a book. Wellington raises an eyebrow. A book? Yuren leans into the lie. Yeah, I was wandering the state library archives, digging for manuals. Then I saw it, just sitting on the floor like someone forgot it. I leaned back and smack, this dusty tome falls off the top shelf. No title, just this weird glowing symbol etched on the leather. I opened it up and bam, a beam of light shot straight into my skull, carved the knowledge right into my brain. And then the book just dissolved. Wellington's eyes go wide. A grimoire, a magic tome. Yuren nods slowly. Inside, he's laughing. Magic tome is just some lore he made up on the spot. The perfect excuse for sudden OP skills. Wellington buys it hook, line, and sinker. It's how great mages pass on their legacy. I don't know the mechanics, but maybe the ancestors sent it. You, my son, have incredibly cracked luck. Yuren decides to play along. Let's call it a windfall. Wellington stands up. I keep my word. No more boring swordsmanship drills. And to sweeten the deal, name your price. What do you want? Yuren keeps his voice steady. I want to be the heir. Wellington freezes. That was not expected. He hesitates. I can't guarantee the council will back that. Wellington paces. Actually, screw it. With my authority, I can force it through. Yuren notices the hesitation. Why so tense? Then it clicks. Becoming the successor is a trap. It puts a target on his back. The opposition, specifically the young miss, would raise absolute hell. Too much drama. Actually, never mind. I'll pass. Wellington blinks, confused, but Yuren thanks him for the offer anyway. Inner monologue. Yeah, right. Who wants that job? Stuck in meetings, managing the estate. Listening to the old man lecture me all day. No thanks. I need time to max out my Tang clan arts and explore the world. Wellington sighs. Okay, then what do you want? Yuren smirks. My own night order. I want full command. Give me Aaron, my butler, and Clyde, that guy I sparred with. Wellington relaxes. That's it. Way easier than the heir thing. Aaron is wasted as a servant anyway. She's got talent. Consider it done. Yuren bows. One more thing. I need a replacement butler. Who? There's a kitchen hand named Peru. I want him. But I need you to pretend it was your idea. Take the heat for the promotion. Wellington frowns. You scheming something? Yuren waves it off. I'll fill you in later. The dad just sighs and agrees. Yuren thinks, wow, the old man really trusts me now. Didn't even grill me on the details. How did my approval rating get this high? Must be the father-son bond. Cut to outside. Yuren stands before his new squad. Listen up. As of today, you two are my elite night order. Get ready for hell training. And meet your new butler, Peru. Peru bows. Please take care of me. Aaron stares daggers. Flashback to yesterday, Aaron cornered Yuren. Why replace me with him? Yuren scratched his head. Look, Peru isn't just a kitchen guy. He's a spy. Sent by Commander Karox and Kaina to assassinate me. Aaron's jaw dropped. And you want him serving you tea? Relax. He works for me now. Totally loyal. Back to present. Clyde steps up. Hey boss, quick question. Yuren nods. Shoot. Even a two-man squad needs a leader. A commander. Usually it's the strongest one. Aaron here. She's tiny. Fragile. Doesn't look like she could hurt a fly. So naturally, I should be the chief. Yuren grins. You're absolutely right. The strongest should lead. It's showtime. The duel barely starts before it's over. Clyde taps out instantly, Aaron's blade already kissing his throat. She absolutely roasts him, calling his moves basic and predictable, but tells him to keep grinding and not quit. Clyde takes the L with grace, promising to level up. Our main character nods, satisfied with the result. and makes it official. Aaron is the new captain of the Knights. He and Peru drop a round of applause for the winner. Peru dips to whip up dinner, and the sun sets. Later, Uren puts some distance between them, but he can still sense the butler's aura. Perfect time to test a new skill. Not vocal cords but pure internal energy. To project sound waves straight into a target's brain. Classic telepathy moves you see in martial arts flicks. He pings Peru mentally. The butler spins around, answering young master but sees absolutely nobody there. Ghosted. Uren keeps dropping his name. The poor butler is losing it, looking terrified. Uren steps out, asking why the long face. And Peru starts freaking out, thinking he's cracking up. Is this dark magic, he stammers. The MC plays it cool, saying it's just a little chat. Peru connects the dots. This kid isn't just poisoned, he's something supernatural. Rumor has it dark mages use these tricks, so the young master must be on that list. Uren acts confused, and tells him to believe whatever. Is my order ready, he asks. Peru nods. The snake's mind. A nasty brew distilled from 100 venomous vipers is done. Uren gives a specific instruction. Dump a massive dose in my victory soup. Peru is shaking in his boots but agrees to the insane request. Next morning, Uren snaps out of meditation with a heavy sigh. Frustrated that he's still stuck at the 3-star level. His mana isn't spiking fast enough. He doesn't know how much time is left before the apocalypse hits, so he's got to bounce from the Marquis' estate. He heads to his dad's quarters and drops the bomb. He's taking a trip. Wellington is skeptical since the kid basically lives indoors. Just touring the local territory, Dad assumes. Uren plays along. How long? Wellington asks. Uren knows he's going way further, but keeps that card hidden. About a week, he lies smooth as silk. Dad buys it. The kid needs a break from training. Who do you want on your security detail? Going solo, Uren shrugs. The Lord looks completely confused. You're the heir to Marquis rocks, act like it, he lectures. Uren counters. Saying a full guard squad for a short trip would look weird. Wellington explodes, shouting that Uren is clueless about the brutal real world. He might be tough, but poison is a silent killer. Uren almost laughs. He eats poison for breakfast, but arguing with the old man is pointless. Fine, you win, he concedes. Dad asks for the departure time. 2 days, Uren lies again. Wellington immediately starts organizing the escort team. Joke's on him. Uren plans to ghost them all tomorrow morning. Night falls, and he summons Peru. I'm hitting the road and I'm broke. I need cash. You still have the budget Rocks gave you for those expensive potions, right? He pressures him. Peru tries to deny hoarding it but eventually caves. It's an honor, he groans, agreeing to fund the trip. Uren digs deeper. I saw that subspace pouch you used for the herbs. A classic fantasy inventory item, capable of holding a literal ton of gear. Peru looks pained, hands it over to the young master. Uren grabs it. No heavy backpack needed now. Here, take this, he says, handing over a vial. It's the antidote for the fake poison. A 1-month supply. You've been useful, Uren smirks. Keep it up, and I'll give you the permanent cure soon. Peru's eyes light up. Dawn breaks. Uren leaves a decoy package and preps for a stealth exit. He glides through the mansion like a shadow. Halls are empty, just as planned. Suddenly, a gardener spots him. Early bird today, young Master Uren plays it cool. But something's off. This innocent-looking guy is radiating insane energy. He activates Creator's Eye to scan him, and the stats shock him. But he keeps moving. Finally, outside the castle walls. Freedom. He spots a landmark, the magic tower. He strolls to the desk. The mage looks up. I need the portal, Uren demands. First time the mage quizzes, eyeing him up. The protagonist shakes his head. Nope. Then the receptionist chimes in with the upsell. We have a mileage rewards program. Uren blinks. Seriously, it's literally just like a frequent flyer system. Destination, the mage demands. Asu Castle, Uren replies. The receptionist flinches. That is a serious trek. Understood, he nods. That'll be 50 gold. Ouch. After dropping the coin, he has to sign the passport. It is pricey, just as he predicted, but thankfully, his pockets are deep. For the signature, he scribbles Polian, his classic in-game handle. Right this way, sir, the mage gestures. He's guided toward a private chamber, with one instruction. When you hear the knock, you're there. Uren steps inside, admiring the setup. The interior design is immaculate. Crack. A bolt of lightning hammers the castle spire. Uren flinches, totally confused. When suddenly a voice calls out, Welcome to Asu Castle, you're clear to exit. Wait, what? Uren's stunned. Already. I didn't feel a thing. The mage smirks, chest puffed out. Seamless travel is our pride and joy. Uren mulls it over. Did he actually write this level of luxury into the original story settings? Come fly with us again, the mage waves as the doors swing open. The protagonist steps out and is instantly hit by a totally different vibe. This is Asu Castle. Maybe it's the Eastern influence, but compared to the Marquis territory, the architecture is wildly unique. Plus, the streets are absolutely packed. Mission 1, secure a blacksmith ally. He grills a local for directions and heads toward a tiny shack tucked in a back alley. Urine sighs. He's been scouring the map for hours with zero luck on the unicorn blacksmith. The sun is already dipping. This is the last spot on the list. Inside, a blade rests on the anvil. Clang, a blacksmith, brings the hammer down, shaping the steel. Anyone home? Urine calls out. The smith looks up at the new face. That's me, Urine confirms, stepping into the light. But I've got a question. He scans the room. Out of all the iron benders around here, do you know a guy calling himself the unicorn blacksmith? The man shakes his head. Never heard of him. Not in this neighborhood. Urine pauses, wrong location, but then the smith shrugs. Funny though, that's the name I was planning to rebrand with. Bingo. Urine activates Creator's Eye. Target Girinox. Trait demonic weapon creation. He found him. The hidden gem. Mind if I check out your inventory? Urine asks, playing it cool. Knock yourself out, the smith points to the wall. Urine scans the racks. So he starts, how's business treating you? The smith looks puzzled by the small talk but sighs. Look at where we are. End of a dead-end hallway. Plus, I'm no master. People wander in, take one look, and bounce. I'm barely keeping the lights on. Urine holds back a grin. Interesting. This guy has no clue. His gear is god tier. He spots the wind spirit rapier, massive buffs to attack and speed. Then the fire spirit longsword. A beast for strength and stamina. You forged these, Urine asks. Yeah, Girinox grunts. But they're total duds. Major failures. The second they cooled, they got unnaturally heavy. Even the beefiest guys can't lift them. So nobody buys them. Urine knows the truth. It's not weight. It's worthiness. The blades reject weak hands. In the hands of the chosen, that power unlocks. Though the specific mechanics of the weapon's will are still a mystery. I'll take them both, Urine announces. Girinox stares at him. Kid, they're scrap metal. But Urine insists, thinking they'll be perfect gifts for Aaron and Clyde. But let's be real, those weren't the main loot he came for. By the way, Urine adds got anything. Super rusty. The smith gives him a blank stare. He drags out a crate of junk. Weird request. I was just tossing these in the meltdown later pile. Useless garbage mostly. Urine plunges his hand into the box. Found it, he whispers. Just like the game config. Girinox eyes the dagger. I didn't make that one. Was collecting dust in the warehouse when I moved in. No clue where it spawned from. Almost trashed it, but, I kept it. I'm buying this too, Urine says. Girinox is baffled. Since you're only picking the defective trash, gimme 2 gold for the lot. The dagger's on the house. Urine fights a smile. This is highway robbery. If the true stats of these weapons were public, he couldn't touch them. For less than 200 gold. But the real prize isn't the steal, it's the maker. He pivots back to the struggling business topic. I have a proposal, Urine says, locking eyes. Shut this place down. Become my personal blacksmith. Girinox freezes. He's speechless. He's not opposed to quitting, but this is coming out of nowhere. The protagonist doesn't waste time. He steps right up to drop his name on the legend himself. Urinox of House Rocks, the invincible spear that guards the south. Urinox freezes. Realizing he's standing before the Marquis's young master, he instantly drops to one knee, smashing his face toward the dirt to beg for mercy, terrified that royalty would step foot in a dump like this. Our hero just sighs and orders him to rise. But the guy refuses to budge. I'm good down here, my lord, he insists, practically glued to the floor. Please speak your mind. The protagonist rolls with it but doubles down on the command to stand. Man, this medieval hierarchy mindset is impossible to break, he thinks. Urinox looks confused. Why would a noble want to hire a broke, no-name blacksmith like him? Our hero doesn't hesitate. It's because of your gift, he declares. The smith shakes his head, denying it. I'm nothing, he argues. My old master used to beat me black and blue every single day. Sounds like some brutal Spartan gent-style training, our MC notes internally. Aloud, he explains that he's scouted tons of forges and seen mountains of steel today, but this work hits different. You pour your soul into every piece, he tells him. The blades were solid, sure, but the grips, perfection. That handle design is the only thing standing between a warrior and death. By keeping the weapon locked in hand when the blood starts slicking, seeing that obsession with detail, the protagonist knows this guy is destined to unlock a god-tier ability. The big question hangs in the air. Can he recruit him? Urinox bows his head. I'll follow you, he vows, but you're nothing like the stories they tell about you. You mean the rumors about me being total trash? The MC smirks. Whatever. Watch this, he says, eyes gleaming. He presses a fingertip against a dagger, drawing blood to trigger the awakening command. For this isn't just scrap metal, it's the relic Agnes of a million forms. The blade shudders, defying gravity, as it floats right out of his palm. The blacksmith's jaw hits the floor. It looks like a legendary ego sword. Meanwhile, the MC recalls that he was always meant to claim this power. A system window pops up. Form soul contract with Agnes. He doesn't hesitate to hit accept. The spirit manifests, warping into a bizarre shape with a voice that drips with attitude. What the hell is this? And who do you think you are trying to bond with me? It sneers. You've got absolutely zero talent, kid. The MC sighs. It can sense my trash mana levels, he realizes. But man, what an arrogant piece of work. The spirit isn't done. This is such a drag. I can't believe a useless loser like you is actually trying to seal a contract. Then the tone shifts. Wait, how did you know the release code? The protagonist replies. A great prophet told me. He lies smoothly, mentally patting himself on the back for that convenient backstory patch. Agnes isn't buying it completely. Why would a great prophet waste breath on a scrub like you? The spirit scoffs. Anyway, if you know the code, you must know what I can do. The protagonist nods, confirming that Agnes is a free-willed weapon. A shape-shifting weapon capable of splitting into two distinct forms, morphing into whatever nightmare the wielder dreams up. In the original canon, our hero rocked the classic sword and shield combo. Even if the backup piece gets knocked away, it snaps right back to the core like a magnet. Agnes throws shade, claiming he's clueless since this bad boy runs purely on mana. That's supposed to be his cue to quit, but our MC just stares, muttering about how she never knows when to shut up. He gestures to the weapon, visualizing it as a ring. Agnes panics, it's scorching like she's being melted alive. While realizing his internal energy vibes perfectly with the mana, he calls out for Giranwa. How long do you need? The blacksmith shoots back, 2 days tops. 48 hours later, as the sun dips below the horizon, he heads to the castle's central park for the rendezvous. But en route, a familiar voice hits his ears. Ilya demands to know what's happening and why he's lurking. Our MC is baffled. He's got the exact same questions. The scene in front of the park screams déjà vu. This is it, the iconic moment where the original hero first crosses paths with Ilya. For the first time, the girl actually asks what's wrong with Aaron. He apologizes, brain racing. The original plot just went off the rails. Ilya swings off her mount, pressing him again on why he's here. The protagonist shoots back, that he's hunting for a blacksmith. She's skeptical. The Rocks family has an army of them. Aaron counters that he wanted to scout his own talent. She sighs. If he'd spoken up, she would have pulled strings. But our MC, he's already secured a top-tier pro. Right on cue, Giranwa makes his entrance. Young master, he bellows, asking if he's kept him waiting. Not at all, the MC replies. Timing's impeccable. He gestures to Ilya, introducing his fiancée. Suddenly, an interruption shatters the moment someone's shouting for the team leader. They're geared up to move out, and the newcomer demands an ID on the stranger. Ilya summons Musk and drops the bomb. Meet my fiancé, Aaron Rocks. The man repeats the name, trembling. He stammers about the honor of seeing the Marquis Rocks bloodline in the flesh, finally introducing himself. As commander of the 5th Division Marquis Family Knights, name's Musk Malone. The protagonist plays nice with a polite greeting. But internally, he's already pegged him. Basically, this guy's a trash-tier NPC, with a seriously obnoxious personality in the original lore. Back then, whenever Musk and his squad rolled out, some kids blocked their path. The original hero intervened, and things got violent fast, until Ilya swooped in just in time to shut it down. That sparked their relationship, but here's the critical detail. The original hero was destined to ride with Ilya and save her from a lethal ambush, but he can't sit around waiting for some savior to show up. He won't let her die. He calls out, "Where are you headed?" Ilya explains orc waves are surging around Asu Castle. Her knights have orders to purge them. "I've got a favor to ask," the protagonist says. "Let me tag along." Ilya frowns. Why? He claims he needs a taste of real combat to sharpen his skills. Ilya's eyes narrow. She warns him, it's no game, but he shrugs it off. "I'm good at running." She stares him down, calculating. She nods and orders Sir Musk to prep a mount. Musk protests immediately. This isn't a joyride, and with orcs on the prowl, one slip-up means death. Especially since the kid has 0 mana presence. Musk has no interest in babysitting dead weight. Ilya cuts him off, her voice dropping. "Sir Musk, that was an order. Zip it and execute." Musk mutters his compliance, grumbling that he'll get it done. Since it's a direct command, he has no choice. But as he turns, he radiates pure killing intent. The protagonist and Ilya share a silent look. Later, she warns him again, it's dangerous out here, so he better stick to her side. Aaron agrees effortlessly. He tells Giranwa to hang on for dear life, and the smith acknowledges the young master's command. The army rolls out. Reaching the zone, Ilya lays down the tactics. They're splitting into 5-man squads to scout the orc village. Rules of engagement, no attacks. Spot them, fall back and signal. They disperse, and she takes the lead on her path. Her squad pushes forward as daylight bleeds into night. A soldier gripes the tracks are spreading out, and getting impossible to follow in the dark. He asks for orders. Ilya shakes her head. They have no choice but to turn back. Suddenly, a sound rips through the air. A signal flare, then another blast from the flank, then more popping off everywhere. Ilya demands a count. The count is 5. But Ivan's blood runs cold. There should only be 4 because he never fired his signal. The leader orders a rush to the northwest desert. They gallop toward the light, but as they close in, Ilya freezes. Total slaughter. Her soldiers aren't just dead, they're decimated. Her squad gasps in horror. The armor, it's been completely melted. Confusion reigns supreme. They have no idea what hit them. Ilya barks orders move south, follow that signal flare immediately. They push their mounts to the breaking point, riding with desperate speed. But arrival brings only horror, a slaughterhouse. Her entire squad has been wiped out. Her second-in-command urges a tactical retreat to the next zone, but Eren cuts him off cold. We aren't going anywhere. Ilya whips around, panic rising as she says her husband's name. But the protagonist holds his ground with a grim warning. The orcs are using guerrilla tactics, picking us off one by one. If they continue like this, victory is mathematically impossible. He drops the bomb, halt the operation, fire the flare, and regroup the forces right here. A soldier snaps, telling him to keep his mouth shut. You know nothing of warfare. This mess is on you, you punk. The disrespect is real, Eren sighs internally. In the original plot, the hero took the heat for this exact disaster. Readers flamed him in the comments for dragging them through such a frustrating arc. Just thinking about it triggers his PTSD. Musk sneers, claiming the young master is clueless about battle strategy. Shut up. The command hits like a physical blow. The soldier freezes eyes wide before crumbling to the dirt, writhing in sudden agony. Ilya gasps, freezing in disbelief. She looks to her fiancé, who stares down the subordinate, cold as ice. Know your place. Musk realizes he messed up, trembling as he begs for mercy. The protagonist's eyes are everywhere. He pivots to Ilya, recalling the original story, where she ignored him, paralyzed by her own spiraling thoughts. He snaps her back to reality. Judge the situation yourself. Look around. Is this really the time for doubts? The reality check lands. Ilya nods, admitting her composure cracked completely. She gives the order. Send up the blue flare. Regroup now. Seconds later, a streak of azure light tears through the sky. The beacon shines across the entire forest. Eren takes a breather, while Giranok hypes him up. Incredible. You moved them like chess pieces. The protagonist shrugs it off. It was nothing. The blacksmith hopes the squad reunites. But Eren knows better. Maybe. Most won't make it. Not with that monster Karuta on the prowl. Giranok asks what the plan is. Eren smirks, eyes dangerous. We wait for the real fight. Suddenly, a survivor bursts from the brush, screaming at the squad leader. Run, just get out of here. Ilya grips her sword, confused until the trees crash open. A green tide emerges. An endless legion of orcs marching straight for them. Musk's jaw drops at the insane numbers. Ilya's spirit breaks. She turns to Eren, eyes watering. I'm sorry. We're all dead because of me. Relax, the protagonist says, cool as a cucumber. Nobody dies today. Ilya blinks. What is he planning? He signals Agnes. It's showtime, time to unleash the results of their 2-day training grind. He activates the 3-star skill looted from the fake body black iron explosion. He hasn't even live tested it yet. He tosses a small dark pellet toward the horde. It pulses with terrifying energy. It clinks harmlessly against an orc's axe. The monsters cackle. Right until the world goes white. Boom! A massive detonation swallows the vanguard. In one strike, the enemy ranks are decimated. Eren flickers his wrist, commanding the energy to return. Perfect. Agnes's support ability syncs beautifully with his nukes. The survivors roar and charge the young man. Big mistake. He lobs another sphere. Another earth-shattering blast rocks the forest. Ilya stares flabbergasted. What was that? Black iron spheres, Eren replies casually. Class is in session later. The herd is thinned out. Ilya seizes the momentum. She rallies her troops. They're weak. We can win this attack. It's a cleanup operation now. Ilya dashes in, decapitating a beast with a single clean cut. Her squad fights with renewed vigor, skewering the stragglers. One orc watches in horror, but his gaze shifts. A towering reddish figure looms over him. Fear paralyzes the monster. Crunch. A massive hand crushes the orc's skull like a grape. Ilya spins around. What the hell is that thing? The monster stands absurdly tall. The protagonist narrows his eyes. Finally, he's here. Karuta, the legendary orc warrior. If they don't bag this boss today, it's game over for everyone. Karuta lets out a roar that rattles their very bones, drops into a stance, and launches at Ilya. She freezes, thinking she needs to move, but her body won't obey. Suddenly, her fiancé yanks her back. Why are you standing there? He drags her out of the kill zone, just as her subordinates are obliterated. Ilya stares in shock at the carnage. Karuta locks eyes with the protagonist, growling. Eren wastes no time. He pitches a black iron explosion straight at the beast's jugular. Dead center. The blast goes off. But when the smoke clears, not a scratch. Karuta roars again, muttering as he stalks toward them. Eren clicks his tongue. Damn, this isn't normal armor. The guy's skin is harder than steel. Ilya, watching her fallen soldiers, snaps. You bastard. Her sword erupts with a furious aura. Screaming that she'll never forgive him, she blitzes forward, closing the gap with god-tier speed. Steel clashes against savage iron. She trades blows with the orc warriors on equal footing, neither side giving an inch. But Karuta stands like an immovable object. She's parrying everything thrown at her. The squad goes wild, hyping up their captain's skills while Yurin analyzes the battlefield flow. Classic Ilya. Even with her Sword Queen trait nerfed this early in the storyline, she's still a beast. To think, she's strong enough to pressure a boss-level monster like Karuta, slicing through his armor and tough hide. But drawing blood just sends the monster into a berserker rage. Now, she's got his full attention. He unleashes a primal roar, flaring his aura like a power-up, leaving Ilya wondering how a mere orc can channel that kind of energy. Karuta feints a glance, then snaps a lightning-fast backhand. Clang. Just like the original script, Ilya gets overpowered and shut down. The troops scramble to cover their fallen leader. Ilya grits her teeth in humiliation. She knows she can't solo this raid boss. Retreat looks like the only survival option, but our main character steps right into the kill zone. The orc grunts something at Yurin in its guttural tongue. Meanwhile, the protagonist ignores the chatter, gripping his dagger. He channels direct burst and launches the blade straight at the creature. Karuta swats it away like a fly. But Yurin smirks. He knows that dagger thrown with direct burst. Shattered on impact, exactly as planned. The monster roars again, trying to intimidate the protagonist. But the roar dies in its throat. It spots something sticking to its shoulder guard, remnants of the black iron explosion. Boom. A massive chain reaction rips through the air. Karuta staggers his right arm, reduced to useless meat by the blast. The protagonist dusts off his hands. The first throw was a decoy. The orc was too busy blocking the frontal assault to notice the trap planted behind him. His skin might be steel, but physics still applies. That crack in his armor was the golden ticket. Yurin knew he couldn't just aim blindly. The monster trembles, realizing it's been outplayed, then charges at him with pure, instinctive fury. A massive horizontal cleave tears through the air, but Yurin weaves past it. The monster winds up for another strike. Miss. Miss. Yurin dances around every hit, positioning his dagger. He wonders, what's the endgame here? Just then, another explosion rocks the creature's face. The protagonist taunts that fear is useless. He has no intention of letting this thing capture him alive. Realizing he can't hit the speedster, the orc locks eyes on Jirinox. He starts stomping toward the blacksmith while the protagonist screams, "Don't you dare!" Karuta launches himself at the helpless smith. The protagonist curses the situation and flares his internal energy to the max. He has to intercept. He dumps every ounce of mana he has into the draconic treasure steps. The monster swings for the kill, but the protagonist intercepts it, moving so fast he leaves afterimages in his wake. The impact craters the ground. Karuta spins around confused. Ilya's jaw drops. That kind of speed shouldn't be physically possible. Time to wrap this up. The protagonist summons Agnes, one of the legendary hidden weapons from the Tang clan's Four Heavens arsenal. It was the bloody flower butterfly. He launches it with a curved shot. It doesn't zip, it floats, slowly, terrifyingly towards the orc. It flutters through the chaos, graceful and deadly. Beautiful, Ilya whispers. The orc just shakes in pure terror. He slashes wildly, trying to swat the butterfly, but it weaves through every gap in his defense. It lands gently on his chest. Then, absolute agony. The orc screams as a final cataclysmic explosion rips him apart from the inside. Yurin watches the fireworks wary. Ilya is completely shell-shocked. The protagonist isn't celebrating yet, but with the juice he pumped into that bloody flower butterfly, it had enough kick to blow a hole through a tank, let alone an orc warrior. Total obliteration. Musk shouts, "Target down. We won." Ilya snaps out of it, barking, "Not yet. Clean up the trash mobs," she orders. Meanwhile, Jirinox is practically bowing to the young master for saving his life. The protagonist notes, "The first real skirmish is a wrap." Cut to nightfall at camp. The protagonist checks in. "You hurt." "I'm wrecked," she admits. "But since I owe you my life, I'll keep my mouth shut." The protagonist shrugs. "Hey, we're a team. Besides, it makes sense, given what you asked. I'm not a sword guy. I specialize in hidden weapons." Ilya blinks confused. "Wait, really?" The protagonist nods. "The explosive sphere? And that butterfly, all hidden weapons. She can't process it. Those were nukes, not parlor tricks." Oren reflects on the culture shock. She's a sword supremacist, thinking steel is king, but he just blew her mind and her worldview wide open. A knight runs up. "Captain Magic Bag ready." Ilya nods, shifting to business mode. "We can't haul all the corpses, but we're definitely taking the trophy." "Grab the leader's head." She jams her blade into Karuta's corpse and hefts the massive head. It's huge. Gonna mess up the inside of the bag though. "Who cares?" Ilya scoffs. "These bags were stitched for carrying severed heads. Don't overthink the gore." Sun's down. Mission complete. They mount up and ride into the dark, heading for home. Musk finally shows his face, and Captain Ilya gets straight to the point, demanding to know why he ghosted them after the signal fire went up ages ago. The guy acts totally clueless. He starts stammering about a massive orc ambush way out in the boonies, slowing them down. Ilya nods, playing it cool, but cuts deep with the real question. "Where is my squad?" Just the two of them standing there. Musk hits her with the bad news total wipeout. Claims the orcs were on steroids or something way stronger than intel suggested. But the captain isn't buying it. She demands proof. Take her to the bodies now. The knight starts sweating, desperate to change the subject. He creeps closer, while she keeps barking orders. He mumbles something about explaining their tactical formation, first closing the distance. Then snaps. He pulls a dagger for a cheap shot at Ilya. But our protagonist is faster, slicing clean through the traitor's arm before he can even blink. Musk hits the dirt, screaming and writhing in agony. Urine steps up, dropping the mic. You said you were fighting orcs, bro. Then why isn't there a single drop of green blood on your gear? Just red human blood. He's not falling for the act. This guy was obviously snitching to the monsters, leaking intel from day one. Musk wheezes out a, "How did you know?" Ilya unsheathes her blade, cold as ice, basically saying, "Game over." The man tries to beg, rambling about the Malone family's legacy, serving the Marcus house, trying to pull rank. Ilya just rolls her eyes, total crap. She tells him to shut his trap and delivers another slash. Brutal. Fast forward, and the chaotic night finally winds down at the noble estate in Aso Castle. Giranox is shaking the young master awake, chanting his name. Urine groggily sits up like, "Dude, what do you need?" The blacksmith points out it's basically lunchtime already. Plus, Captain Ilya is downstairs. Suddenly, the girl walks in, stunning in a sleek black dress. She asks if her fiancé slept okay. Our MC is totally thrown off, staring at her glam makeover like, "Whoa, what's with the fit?" Ilya explains, Urine needs to come to her crib. Her dad specifically ordered her to bring him along. No excuses. She hits him with the, "You coming." The protagonist stares at her, thinking the rumors aren't hyping her enough. She really is the most gorgeous woman alive. Zero cap. He immediately agrees to go. Ilya smiles, saying she'll wait out front so he can get dripping for the trip. Urine pauses, checking his stats. Her affection meter has been skyrocketing ever since he saved her that one time. Stonks. He heads out and apologizes for the wait. The crowd outside goes wild, chanting for the iron-blooded knight. Lady Ilya, the hero who soloed the orc warrior, all the clout is going to her. Urine figures she earned that title. For having that dog in her, never giving up even when death was staring her down. Just like the original plot. But then the crowd starts screaming, "Lord Urine." They're calling him the Iron Mage, and swooning over his looks. RMC is confused, realizing the soldiers must have leaked some rumors. They probably saw him bending those metal spheres like Magneto, and assumed he was a high-tier wizard. Ilya breaks his train of thought. She gets serious, saying she knows she said it before, but she's super grateful he saved her life twice now. The protagonist waves it off, just doing his job. The girl explains she went back to the forest at the crack of dawn, to bring back the fallen. Seeing all those bodies scattered through the woods broke her heart. But then it hit her. If Urine hadn't stepped up yesterday, she would have been just another corpse in the pile. The protagonist looks down, playing humble. Ilya clenches her fist, declaring her villain arc is over. She's gonna grind, train harder, and surpass every single warrior out there. She vows to never take an L again. Urine realizes her true potential has finally unlocked. Meanwhile, the mages start prepping a warp gate to the Marcus estate. Ilya mentions it's a short hop, so her dad sent the family's magic squad. "Let's roll," she says. They step into the circle, the mages start chanting, and the teleportation spell fires up. Urine and Giranox are totally shook by the tech. Ilya notes, it's been a hot minute since he visited her turf. Boom. One blink, and the scenery completely shifts. MC feels a bit motion sick. Giranox is gazing around, wondering if every noble house is this massive. Anyway, looks like the protagonist secured an invite for a fancy dinner. In the original lore, the MC was stuck eating nothing but Chirin soup from the Marquis' kitchen. Every single day. But today, he's finally going to taste some top-tier noble cuisine. The Marquis greets his son-in-law warmly. "Come on in." Urine tries to bow, but the old man waves him off. Sit, no need to be stiff." The kid just rolls with it and sits opposite Ilya. The Marquis gets serious, saying he needs to thank him not just as a fiancé but as a father. That's his little girl, and he's grateful Urine saved her life. The protagonist shrugs it off, acting cool. Just did what had to be done. Then the servants bring out the food. The protagonist is practically drooling, waiting for the big reveal. And it's the special Chirin soup. Again, the Marquis brags that just like the Rock's family, they have a secret recipe for this stuff. Apparently it's tradition to slurp this after a fight. Enjoy Urine forces a smile and thanks him for the meal, trying to gaslight himself into thinking he can stomach it. Suddenly, mid-spoon, the Marquis drops a bomb. "So when's the wedding?" The protagonist chokes. "Excuse me," the Marquis clarifies. He's talking about locking it down with his daughter. Urine starts sweating. This has to be a test. The Marquis definitely hates him. His affection stats are sitting at a measly 10. Even after saving her life, he decides to go for the ultimate power move. He looks the Marquis dead in the eye and declares he'd marry Ilya right here, right now if he could. Ilya, she's turning 50 shades of red. But our boy keeps it real. He admits he hasn't locked down the air position yet, and yeah, his messy past gave the haters plenty of ammo to look down on him. He's playing the long game though. To be worthy of Ilya, he vows to reinvent himself, secure the heir title, and then return to claim her as his wife properly. The Marquis hits him with a reality check. Does he seriously think that's possible? Word on the street is his younger brother is a certified genius. Can he really clap back at a prodigy like that? Yurin doesn't even blink. He tells the old man he's absolutely got the skills to handle it. The Marquis bursts out laughing. The rumors were true, this kid has completely transformed. He gives Yuren the green light and promises his full support. But enough about romance. The mood shifts instantly. The Marquis reveals a message came in from the Wellington estate just before Yuren arrived. Turns out news travels fast when you use magic. The Rock's family already knows he's here. Yuren goes on. Alert. What did his old man say? The Marquis suggests they save the heavy talk for after dinner. Yuren nods, throwing a glance at Ilya, who's quietly picking at her food. He's trying to figure out why she's sulking again. Girl's right. Either way, looks like he successfully charmed her dad. Mission accomplished. Cut to the private study. It's showtime. A mage hauls in a crystal sphere to patch them through to the Rock's household. The device hums to life, projecting a hologram of the Lord like a magical FaceTime call. Yuren steps up and greets his father. He starts with an apology, but his dad immediately cuts him off, cursing at the brat while frantically checking if he's injured anywhere. Classic tough love. Yuren confirms he's in one piece. Wellington wastes no time changing gears. He needs to know, did his son actually save Ilya? And did he seriously solo an orc warrior? Yuren plays it cool, shrugging it off as pure luck. His dad isn't buying the humble act, but he gets it. Save the war stories for when you get back. His father grunts, asking for his ETA. Yuren calculates his moves and says he'll be home the day after tomorrow. Then the Lord drops a bombshell. Command, bring your brother when you come. Yuren is stunned into silence. Meanwhile, the Marquis chimes in, noting Yuren is leaving soon. The Marquis wishes he'd stick around a bit longer. Yuren admits he'd love to chill, but duty calls. His father gave him a mission. Bummer. The Marquis, being a generous host, offers to fire up a magic portal so Yuren can teleport home in style. Yuren sighs. It's tempting, but he politely declines. He's in his grinding era right now. He needs every scrap of XP he can get. Taking the easy way out won't help him level up. He needs to travel the hard way to sharpen his skills. The Marquis is shook. This kid really has done a 180. He's hyped to see just how overpowered Yuren will become. Yuren thanks him for the faith. Ilya catches that exchange and flashes a rare smile. Yuren mentally high-fives himself. She definitely liked that. But outside, he reveals the real reason he dodged the teleport. Garanok is confused, pointing out that the capital is in the opposite direction. Didn't Yuren say they were heading there? Detour time, Yuren explains. They need to hit up a specific spot first, the Great Mountain, right next to the Marquis' territory. It's known as the Dragon's Clearing. Garanok is curious, but Yuren just says he needs to visit that spot before they hit the forge. You gonna make a wish like a tourist? Garanok asks. Nope, Yuren smirks. He's not there to pray. He's there to loot a specific treasure. A hidden item the original hero wasn't supposed to find until way later in the timeline. They trek through the wilderness toward the legendary cave. His subordinate looks around the crowded path. It's barely dawn, and this place is already packed with people. Is there actually loot here, he asks. Yuren laughs. Nah, this spot is a tourist trap, a decoy. The world is full of secrets. He tells the guy to quit asking questions and just follow. They veer off toward the front face of the mountain. Garanok shrugs and falls in line. The blacksmith is wheezing, looking around the barren rock face. There's literally nothing here, boss. Yuren ignores him, scanning the area. He's looking for a very specific glitch in the matrix, an entrance configured like a modern car door. He checks his six to make sure no NPCs are watching. He grabs empty air and pulls. Suddenly, the rock face splits open, sliding sideways exactly like a minivan door. The guys are flabbergasted. That breaks every law of physics, Garanok gasps. Yuren just grins. Less talking, more walking. They step into the void, and the stone slab slides shut behind them. The blacksmith blinks. It's surprisingly bright inside. A massive gemstone is glowing on the ceiling. Yuren barks an order. Don't touch that unless you want to trigger a wipe mechanism. Garanok gulps. What kind of trap? Yuren explains nonchalantly that the whole room is rigged to turn into a literal sea of fire. We'd be crispy critters in seconds, Yuren warns. Stick to me like glue. One wrong step and it's game over. The blacksmith nods, furiously terrified. They creep toward a stone altar. Garanok stares at it in awe. Majestic. But it's empty, he notes. Yuren smirks. You're looking at the surface. You need to know what's hidden behind the code. The fake dragon's clearing ends here, Yuren says. Behind this wall, I can feel the vibes of all those people praying outside. While they pray for miracles, Yuren is about to steal one. He reaches under the altar and finds a hidden knob. Click. A secret compartment slides open. Unbelievable, Garanok whispers. Inside sit 3 heavy bags of gold coins, but Yuren ignores the cash. He grabs a small box next to it. The gold is trash compared to this, the warrior's jade, an item with the legendary effect of rebirth. Getting stronger wasn't optional. It was survival. They push forward until Jironox asks for the destination. Yuren points the way, Magic Tower, Asu Castle. The blacksmith notes that even at this ungodly hour, a massive crowd is still kneeling in prayer out front. Suddenly, the young master freezes, sensing a heavy, suffocating pressure. He instantly activates Creator's Eye to scan a mysterious woman nearby, but glitch. Zero data. The protagonist realizes she's an endgame boss, who shouldn't exist this early in the plot. Jironox stammers, asking what just happened. The protagonist is reeling, wondering how her aura alone could be this overwhelming. That woman is a monster he has zero chance of defeating right now. It's a code red situation. He snaps at Jironox, commanding him to hustle toward the castle, throwing out a lame excuse about being starving. His blacksmith trails behind, shouting for the young master to slow down, begging him to pump the brakes. The hooded figure pauses, glancing back over her shoulder. Later, safely inside the castle walls, Yuren can't shake the feeling that the timeline is broken. That character was scripted to appear way later in the narrative. He's racking his brain on why she's here now, and why she's at this specific location. That beast usually only hunts the dragon's horde in the final arcs. The story's pacing has clearly shifted. The butterfly effect is in play, and he has no clue where the original hero is, or what he's up to. But he grabs the pearl, deciding there's no point hoarding it, might as well consume the power now. Yuren swallows it and begins to circulate the energy, focusing his chi as his insides feel like they're being incinerated. The system triggers a complete rebirth sequence, forcing his body to evolve into a superior physique. Hours pass until the cultivation cycle completes. Yuren snaps his eyes open, and a system window pops up. Congratulations, you have awakened the celestial martial body. In the world of martial arts, Manhwa, this is the holy grail of constitutions, an OP cheat code that lets the user copy any technique just by witnessing it once. He stands up, feeling lighter than air, just as Jironox bursts through the door, hollering for his master. The protagonist tells him to enter. Jironox sighs in relief, glad he's finally conscious. But then, the blacksmith does a double take. He remarks that the young master looks stretched out way taller than before. Yuren plays it cool, saying it's just his imagination. Jironox shakes his head. He's a master craftsman. He measures things by eye for a living. Yesterday, Yuren was exactly 5'10", and today he is clocking in at a solid 6 feet. Yuren admits the guy has eagle eyes, but internally, he's just hyped about the height upgrade. All thanks to the celestial martial body perks. They head to the teleportation hall where a mage asks how he can be of service. Yuren demands access to the teleporter. The mage asks for the destination. The protagonist states plainly, the capital. The official shuts him down immediately. Travel to the capital is on lockdown due to assassination threats against the royals. Nobodies without fame are banned from entry. Yuren rolls his eyes at this trashy class-based society, but complaining won't fix it. He pulls rank, declaring he is the eldest son of Marquis, and his companion is his personal smith, Jironox. The room goes dead silent. The mages drop their jaws, whispering, the steel mage Jironox. The protagonist smirks and confirms it. The fanboying begins instantly. They swarm Jironox, asking how he summons infinite steel spheres and what the explosive formula is. They're desperate to know his targeting algorithms and why he has 0 mana signature. Suddenly, a heavy staff slams against the stone floor. That's enough. Yuren looks around for the source as the mage apologizes for his disciple's lack of chill. The protagonist squints, asking for a name. The old mage introduces himself as the Tower Master of Asu territory. His name is Yubion. Yuren freezes. This was supposed to be a throwaway filler character. On the surface, a benevolent grandpa figure, but in the lore, he's a twisted serial killer who slaughters without batting an eye. Yuren wonders why he keeps stumbling into monsters back to back. Yubion smiles, announcing he will personally activate the room to warp them to the capital. The protagonist offers a stiff thanks, but the mage leans in, adding that for some strange reason, he has a premonition that he and Lord Yuren will cross paths again. The protagonist shivers, forcing a smile. You don't say. Zap. Lightning engulfs the tower. Moments later in the capital, a station mage announces their arrival, ushering them out of the portal room and welcoming them to the big city. Jironox looks around, asking why everything is so extra, noting that even the pedestrians' outfits look pricey. The protagonist suggests Jironox use his cut to buy some drip, but the smith isn't interested. They start gossiping about the massive scale of the Royal Knights Academy. A guard steps up, asking their business. The protagonist replies, he's just there for a visit. The guard demands a name and the student in question. Yuren introduces himself and says he's there to check on his little brother Colin Rocks. Suddenly, a voice calls out from behind. Yuren turns to see a handsome guy with silver hair, definite Elion Duchy vibes, from the north. The protagonist confirms yes, he is from the Rocks family. The stranger asks if he's the guy who soloed the Orc Warrior. If that's true, he must be an absolute unit. Yuren is startled. Why is this random elite speaking to him like they're besties? The stranger hollers out again. Yuren keeps it cool, replying that he's flattered by the attention, but needs a name before anything else. The guy smirks and drops his credentials. Carrick Elian, second son of the Duke, and apparently a buddy of Colin's. Yuren nods, playing along. Carrick takes the lead, promising to bring them straight to Colin. But Yuren's internal radar is pinging. This guy gives off major bad news vibes. Still playing the game is the safest bet. Yuren signals Grenix to hang back. As they stroll, Carrick drops a bomb about Lady Ilya. He mentions how they took down an orc together. He gets how a prodigy like Ilya survived, she's top-tier material. But Yuren, he's the wild card. Carrick is fishing for intel, desperate to know if Yuren is secretly packing magic power. Not a mage, Yuren shuts him down. Carrick flashes a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Is that so? He picks up the pace. Yuren clocks that creepy grin and instantly knows something is up. Suddenly, Carrick announces they've walked right into the elite training grounds. A student gasps, Lord Carrick is back. Carrick ignores the pleasantries and demands to know where Colin is. A purple-haired kid stammers, admitting he sent Colin to the professor ages ago. Yuren connects the dots. So you ditched my brother, just to lure me into the lion's den. Carrick turns to the crowd, voice dripping with sarcasm. Meet the heir of rocks, the orc slayer. He adds a twist. He claims no magic, which means he's a brawler, right? The crowd starts whispering about the weirdo who fights with daggers, throwing steel spheres and butterflies. Carrick feeds off the drama, suggesting the hero give them a little demo. Cornered Yuren agrees. Guess I have to play. Carrick instantly summons Melroy, an intermediate ranker, to the ring. Melroy sneers, asking where the daggers are. Yuren shrugs it off. For a spar, unnecessary. I'll pass on the blades. Carrick chimes in from the sidelines. Heard, you can't even swing a sword, but hey, give it your best shot. Yuren realizes the score. These elites are judging him purely on his weapon choice. Perfect time to test drive the celestial martial body. Melroy taunts him, offering the first strike like it's charity. Yuren doesn't hesitate. He lifts his blade and smashes it down in a simple overhead arc. Melroy scoffs and goes for a lazy block, but the sheer kinetic force crushes his defense, driving his own sword right into his skull. Carrick's jaw hits the floor. What just happened? With Melroy out cold, Carrick stammers that the kid just let his guard down. Saving face, he barks for a rematch. Mula, you're up. Mula is a tank, advanced intermediate class, and Carrick warns him not to be an idiot like the last guy. Mula spits, don't compare me to that amateur. The bell rings and Mula charges. But to Yuren, the guy is moving in slow motion. It's almost painful to watch. This is the power of the celestial martial body. Yuren decides to keep it basic, and just thrusts his sword forward. Mula tries the exact same block, big mistake. Crack. Another sword to the forehead. Carrick looked like he's seen a ghost. Again, Yuren checks his internal stats. Strength, speed, reflexes, everything is operating on a god-tier level compared to these guys. He sighs internally. Is this the best the Knights Academy has to offer? They're weak. Carrick steps into the circle, face grim. One more round. With me. The boss battle is starting, proving he's the alpha of the group. Yuren doesn't flinch. You're on. He accepts, standing his ground. Action Carrick blurs into motion, circling Yuren with a high-level technique that spawns multiple illusionary clones. Fast Yuren notes. Like fighting a squad. It's a killer move designed to overwhelm the senses. But with Yuren's enhanced eyes, the real Carrick is glowing like a neon sign. He sidesteps the phantom strike effortlessly. And bam, sword meets forehead. 3 for 3. The Duke's son hits the dirt instantly. Dead silence falls over the arena until a voice cuts through. What is going on here? Everyone gasps. It's Lord Colin. Colin repeats the question, demanding answers. Yuren stares at the newcomer, his little brother. The sword genius Colin rocks. The student points a shaking finger. That's your brother Yuren. Colin scans the room. Where's the fat guy? He looks left and right, totally lost. The student insists it's the tall guy in the center. Colin stares, brain short-circuiting. That's Yuren. No way. He's supposed to be a tub of lard. He screams in denial, refusing to process the visual. Just shed a few pounds, Yuren says, casual as ever. A few? You grew a foot, Colin shrieks. Diet does wonders for the posture. Yuren deadpans. Colin points to the pile of unconscious bodies. And what is wrong with them? A student whispers the play-by-play of the beatdown. Colin's eyes bulge. Impossible. So, the orc rumor. It's true, Colin gasps. Yuren nods, confirmation. How the hell? Yuren frowns, cutting him off. Watch your tone with your older brother. That snaps Colin back to rage mode. Don't give me that. There is no way you got this. Strong. Yuren asks if he's really going to start a scene. And Colin explodes. Stop it. I never called you brother. You're just a mistake born 2 years before me. He calls him a pig. Big mistake. Yuren smirks, ready to teach this kid a lesson on hierarchy, and says, come get some little brother. Colin is itching for a fight, but our MC raises the stakes. Let's make it interesting. A bet. The loser has to grant the winner one wish. Anything goes. Colin takes the bait instantly. Deal. When I win, you're licking my boots clean. He snaps his fingers, demanding someone hand him his blade. Total arrogance. A lackey whispers something in Colin's ear. Urine figures they're gossiping about how he absolutely wrecked those other guys earlier. Flashback to a moment ago, the blonde screams, start, channeling a massive aura into his sword. But here's the thing, Urine isn't playing nice anymore. He's going for the throat from second one. The system HUD flashes, Colin is stacked. Agile sword, agile body, even the sword emperor trait. Urine feels a wave of disgust. Sure, the kid has stats, but Urine knows he is the one born with true sword genius. That's why Colin is so cocky, he's probably never tasted defeat. But Urine pauses, checking his gut instinct. Because he runs the simulation in his head, and he wins every time. Whoosh, he casually sidesteps Colin's opening strike. Blade raised high, bam. He targets the leg. He doesn't want a one-shot KO like the last goons. He wants to savor this. He decides to turn his little brother into a human punching bag. Flash forward, 10 brutal minutes later. It's a massacre. Urine is untouchable, weaving through attacks and landing counters at will. Colin looks like hamburger meat. The crowd is dead, silent jaws on the floor. Broken and bruised, Colin finally cracks. Stop, I yield. Urine glares. You still talking to me like we're equals, whack. He resumes the beatdown until Colin is literally begging for mercy. Try me again, Urine warns, and the pain doubles. The blonde nods furiously, spirit completely broken. Time to cash in that winning ticket. Our MC drops his demand. From this moment on, whenever people are watching, you call me big bro. Colin protests, but one look from Urine shuts him up. He hates it, but he prefers his teeth intact. Family reunion time. Urine announces the next stop, the Empire, to track down brother number 3, Leon. They warp straight to the Imperial capital. Urinox is shook. He can't believe they actually pulled off travel through the magic tower. Urine shrugs it off. Neutral ground, Urinox. There's one in every nation. The vibe here is different, almost modern architecture. Urine points it out. Welcome to the Imperial Knights Academy. He turns to his new lackey. Colin, get in there and fetch Leon. Minutes later, Colin returns with the target. Urine sizes him up. Kid had a growth spurt. Leon squints. Is that really you, Urine? In the flesh. Urine pats Colin on the back. Good job, kid. The blonde mutters a quiet, humble brag. Big bro. Leon's eyes widen. He's heard rumors. Urine tries to wrap it up to head home, but Leon drops a bomb. We have a problem. The capital is on total lockdown. You can check in, but you can't check out. Because this morning, the crown prince is dead. Colin parrots the news in shock, while Urine's mind races. This wasn't in the script. Even he didn't see this coming. Leon confirms the hit happened at dawn. Suddenly it clicks for Urine. That explains the swarm of soldiers flooding the streets, and why the air felt so heavy earlier. Leon whispers, it's mostly rumors, but listen. The prince's fiancée from the neighboring kingdom. She just got here. The prince, wanting to flex, invited her to the training grounds at the crack of dawn. He was showing off his sword moves. But the moment he walked toward the clapping Princess Bam stone, spikes erupted from the ground. Skewered him instantly. The royal priest tried to heal him, but it was game over. He was gone. Colin gasps magic. But isn't casting spells strictly banned inside the palace grounds? Exactly, Leon nods. That's why every tower master has been dragged to the palace. It's total anarchy right now. Colin shudders. Dying mid-training right in front of your bride-to-be, that is straight up nightmare fuel. But Urine, he's connecting the dots. He knows the killer, the motive, and exactly where they are hiding. The shadow organization responsible is about to go global. Taking out the prince is their opening move. But wait, this event, it wasn't supposed to happen until mid-story. The timeline is broken. Someone or something pressed fast forward. It's too early. He needs more time to level up. Unless, maybe his new celestial martial body changes the odds. Yeah, things might play out differently this time. He snaps back to reality and rallies the boys. Leon whispers, seriously, what's with the big bro thing? Urine ignores him. Best in town. Go. Leon blinks. Dragon's tear, or giant's faith. Right, Urine commands. You two fill out the departure paperwork. Head to the magic tower, and file an exit request for 4. Establish alibis. Make it quick, Leon asks. And where are you going? Urine smirks. Me, I've got a date with an old friend. And don't start drama with Urinox. As Urine walks off, Leon is confused. Wait, since when does he have friends? In the capital, darkness consumes the city. Urine scopes out the Flamberge, an ultra-exclusive lounge catering strictly to the high society elite. Time for a wardrobe change. He slips into the disguise he prepped earlier. Dressed to kill, he wakes Agnes up, and the spirit in the ring is instantly salty about the rude awakening. Urine cuts to the chase. Can the ring alter his facial features? Agnes is shook, demanding to know how he even unlocked that intel. The protagonist shrugs it off as a gut feeling. Agnes grumbles but complies, asking who he wants to cosplay as tonight. Urine glances over his shoulder, locking eyes on a noble exiting the bar. Him. Agnes smirks. Done deal. She summons a viscous liquid skin that crawls over his face, molding his features like clay. In seconds, the protagonist morphs into a perfect clone of the aristocrat. A guard flags down Baron Vera, confused as to why the man is bouncing back so soon. Yurin plays it cool, claiming his thirst isn't quenched just yet. The guard chuckles, warning him to pace himself this time, and waves him through the velvet rope. Inside, a waiter greets the returning Baron, and Yurin orders a refill of whatever the guy was chugging earlier. Infiltration complete. Now he tunes out the visual noise and focuses entirely on his hearing. He filters through a sea of garbage gossip, until one voice cuts through the static, someone casually admitting to snuffing out a life. A waitress laughs it off as a dark joke, but the girl presses on. A young man chimes in, dropping a cliché line about how a new romance is the only cure for a broken heart. The woman sighs, claiming his voice is her therapy. Watching from the shadows, Yurin decides to test the waters with a telepathic jagged edge, whispering the name Envy directly into her mind. Enjoy your playdate with the crown prince. Envy freezes. Who said that? She spins around, screaming, "You bastard," and unleashes an aura so heavy the building's foundation begins to fracture. Panic erupts as the ceiling groans. Amidst the crumbling debris, Yurin backflips to safety. He knew she was unstable, but this woman is completely unhinged. Envy scans the room, hunting for the voice. The protagonist grits his teeth. He knew a sin was powerful, but this raw strength is off the charts. She roars for the human to show himself, so she can shred him. Yurin questions if victory is even statistically possible, but there's no turning back. This is the mission. He needs an equalizer. Dropping the disguise, he transmutes his secondary body, forging it into a lethal dagger. Envy spots him, eyes gleaming. Is that the real you? Cute. She vows to capture him alive. Intending to keep him as a living trophy, she launches herself at him. Yurin weaves through her initial spikes, but she triggers the direct throw skill. His dagger gets yeeted across the room like a toy. Yurin realizes she's treating this fight like a game. Fine. Time for the heavy artillery, black iron explosion. The energy sphere detonates right in Envy's face, a massive blast radius consuming her. Dust clears and she's standing there bored. That's it. Her durability is insane. Yurin realizes he's backed into a corner. He has to recycle the move that dropped the orc. Warrior, unleashing the bloodflower butterfly. A swarm of energy, butterflies rushes her, but Envy effortlessly skewers them with her spider-like legs. Yurin's heart sinks. He's emptied his clip. With no offensive options left, and civilians at risk, the strategy shifts. Survive. He just needs to stall until the Imperial Guards storm the place. Envy spawns a wall of spikes and charges. Yurin hits the deck, rolling out of range. He mutters a curse. That was too close. If this game of tag continues, he's going to end up as a shish kebab. He grabs a sword, a weapon he hasn't mastered, but he's not fencing. He's improvising, channeling blade energy, not to guide, but to blast. Envy screams, taunting him to bring the pain. The protagonist sidesteps a lethal volley and slashes, cleaving her torso in two. A tough hit, but he's still standing. There's a sliver of hope. Envy, however, finds the injury hilarious. "You're fun," she giggles, regenerating, clearly wondering how many seconds he has left. A barrage of spikes fires at him faster this time. Yurin's mind races, the difficulty barely ramped up. Envy mocks his defense, but midway through a taunt, she freezes, staring down at her own limbs. Checkmate. He wasn't just dodging, he was stacking poison debuffs on her the whole time. The blood poison art and burning flame trigger simultaneously. The paralysis window is tiny, 1 second max. Yurin questions the duration but doesn't waste the frame. Dragon steps activate. He blurs into motion, sprinting vertically up Envy's monstrous legs. He lands the critical hit, the exact moment the paralysis fades. He jams his hand into the wound and detonates his entire reserve of internal energy into a point-blank black iron explosion. Envy is blown wide open. The energy sphere hums inside her flesh before going supernova, vaporizing the immediate area. Yurin skids back, panting. He actually pulled it off. But the victory lap is cut short as the monster's flesh begins to knit itself back together. Denial hits him hard. Envy sneers, "Nice try, but game over." The protagonist suddenly remembers the first rule of high-level boss fights. Monsters like this have multiple phases, and every time they resurrect, their stats get a ridiculous buff. "Phase 2, he yells, bracing himself. Envy's legs twitch with renewed power as she tells the protagonist to go to hell. Yurin barely evades the next spike, realizing her speed has doubled. She's moving faster than his eyes can track. Survival rate is plummeting. A spike grazes him, tearing through his shoulder. First blood to the monster. Yurin weaves through the chaos, thinking, "Damn it, that blow nearly took his head off. One slip-up and he's a corpse. He needs to bolt now." Thinking of leaving so soon, Envy sneers, shattering the ground with a savage stomp. Yurin launches himself airborne, barely evading the shockwave, and chains the maneuver. But a barrage of spikes floods the zone, accompanied by the creature's manic cackle. You actually think running is an option. Struggle all you want, little rat. Yurin grits his teeth. This is absolute trash. Meanwhile, shadows shift elsewhere as a hooded silhouette closes in. Screams erupt from the panicked crowd. Monster, get the guards now. A monstrosity bristling with stone spears has manifested in the southern district. The hooded woman freezes. No way. That's envy. A bystander questions the reality of the stone lances, wondering if this connects to the prince. Ignoring him, the hooded woman blinks out of existence, teleporting to a rooftop, scanning the battlefield before diving into the fray. Below, envy's spikes surge toward Uren like seeking missiles. Let's wrap this up, shall we? The spikes close in at breakneck speed. Uren's mind races. Is this it? Suddenly, the system chimes in. Critical danger detected. 2 special privileges unlocked. Access granted creators eye level 2. The world slows. Red trajectory lines paint the air, showing exactly where the kill shot lands. Uren tilts his head, letting the attack whistle past. He weaves through every strike, thinking, too easy. He's dancing through the danger with millimeter precision. If he masters this flow, he could do this blindfolded. How are you doing that? Envy shrieks. Then the second buff kicks in, the Realm of Ascension. Duration limited. Internal energy surges through his veins. Pure white radiance begins to coat his blade. Sword chi. With this kind of firepower, the tables have turned. Watching from afar, the woman gasps. A night of light has descended. The stone spikes launch again, but Uren shreds them like paper. He closes the distance, step by menacing step. The monster freezes in disbelief. Uren launches into the air for the finisher. One clean, devastating slash bisects the beast. The Night of Light won. A little girl cheers from her window. Uren lets out a heavy, exhausted sigh. As the system confirms the victory, barely made it out alive, he thinks. He needs to burn his last reserves, to delta out of there. But as he turns, a massive energy spike stops him cold. Behind him, Envy's severed halves start stitching themselves back together. Already, Uren panics. This is Phase 3 final form. You're not leaving here alive, Envy growls. He has 0 cooldown time. Envy flares her aura, the pressure intensifying, chanting, I'll kill you, while her body contorts grotesquely. The spikes scream toward him, and Uren hits empty. This is it, he thinks, bracing for impact. But inches from his face, the spikes freeze. What the Envy snaps back, realizing she's bound by invisible threads. Behind her, Lust flicks her wrist with effortless grace. Are you blind? Envy spits. Lust cuts her off, cool and commanding. Stand down. It's not time for our grand reveal yet. Uren's eyes widen. He recognizes that energy. It's the entity from the dragon's lair. Lust. One of the 7 deadly sins. If they're hiding, that means they're retreating. Let's go, Lust orders. Envy fades away. Uren exhales. I survived. But a glance to the side kills the mood. The city guards are swarming. Getting questioned now would be a nightmare. Time to ghost. Dawn breaks. Young master, you finally returned. Giranok greets him. Uren plays it cool. Did I miss something? Are my brothers still out cold? Giranok nods. There was a terrorist incident in the city last night. The young lords rushed out at first light to hunt the culprit. Kids these days, right. I'm catching a few winks before we head out. Giranok bows. I'll stand guard outside. Alone, Uren reflects. That fight with Envy was a mess, but it wasn't for nothing. He unlocked the 4th star of the divine poison energizing technique. Still, the victory feels hollow. He's painfully aware of his own weakness. If he struggled that much against Envy, the weakest sin, he's got a mountain to climb. The other sins are monsters compared to her. He needs to power level and fast. Nearby, Colin is running his mouth. The prince's killer showed up. I would have ended him. Leon shuts him down. Please, that guy is leagues above you. They say it was an inhuman beast, spawning stone spears that crushed skyscrapers. But then, a legend appeared. A night of light dripping in holy aura absolutely blasted the monster. The beast ran and the night vanished into the night. So cool. When do I get a badass title like that? Uren overhears and smirks. Of course, the Night of Light is trending. He shifts focus. What about my departure paperwork? Approved, his brother confirms. Dropping the family name worked like a charm. Uren nods. Good. Let's bounce. We need to leave before the city goes on lockdown again. Gear up and meet me in the lobby. Now. Leon looks absolutely drained and tries to ask what went down, but Colin shuts him up instantly. Don't even ask. Fast forward to later that day, the magic tower finally releases them. Wellington greets them with a booming laugh, clearly vibing off seeing his sons together. He sizes up Leon, teasing that the little rascal hit a growth spurt. Uren announces his return. Colin echoes the sentiment and Wellington is just soaking it all in. Excellent. Then the mood shifts. Dad mentions hearing rumors about some heavy drama in the Empire. Leon confirms it's legit and braces for an interrogation. But Wellington waves it off. Sounds like a party, but you guys look dead on your feet. He saves the serious talk for dinner. Erin steps up, hyping the young master. She notes he wasn't gone long, but the glow-up is real. He didn't just return. He came back with 2 new titles and a massive power spike. Uren plays dumb, asking what she means. Erin drops the lore. In the OC territory, they call him the Steel Mage, but in the royal capital, he's the rookie killer. She calls him out for feigning ignorance. You beat down 4 masterclass students at the Knights Academy, remember? The protagonist shrugs. Guilty. Eren explains those weren't just randoms. They were rising talents, rookies. And since he absolutely wrecked them, he earned that savage nickname. The protagonist smirks. Were they really rookies, though? Whatever. He mentions he has loot for Clyde and him, but that's a tomorrow problem. Suddenly, Pero slides into the scene. Why are you still loitering? The Marquis wants them at the dinner table, as soon as possible. Wellington checks if their batteries are recharged, and the sons nod. He gets serious. Before we eat, I need to explain why I summoned you all here. It's time to begin the succession test to decide the true heir of House Rocks. Usually this title goes to the eldest, which would be Uren. Wellington admits he took the throne when he was younger than they are now, but Uren spent years slacking off, so he had Colin queued up as the backup. However, Uren's recent wake-up call changed the game. I won't be the one picking the winner, Wellington declares. You 3 are going to prove who deserves the crown with your own hands. Colin and Leon look nervous. Uren cuts to the chase. How do we prove it? Dad explains. This is a first-time event, and it's happening in stages. Stage 1, Tower Defense. Monsters are swarming toward the capital right now. If those beasts aren't wiped out fast, the civilians are toast. Your mission is simple, defend the territory. You'll be deployed to 3 different battle zones to flex your skills. To keep things fair, I'm sending 3 stewards to watch your every move. And for this stage, no rules. Use your strength, your squad, your connections, your cash, literally everything you've got. Colin hesitates. Is that really allowed? Wellington shuts him down. We aren't training knights. We're raising marquises. Raw power is cool, but resourcefulness is king. If you have the budget, hire mercenaries. Just get the job done. Uren nods. Message received. Colin gets it too. Wellington breaks the tension. Now let's eat. Since the boys are finally home, he ordered the family's signature Shirin soup. The protagonist stares blankly at the bowl. Wellington tells them to fuel up. Because they ship out to their zones in 1 month, they need to prep everything they have. Next day, Uren is chill, wondering if he even needs to pack. Pero drops some intel. The competition is already sweating. Colin is making big moves, especially since the Levantine family is backing him up. The protagonist realizes Madame Kana is betting all her chips on Colin. He analyzes the win condition. The Marquis wants the best result. That means whether we lead a squad or go full Rambo on the monsters ourselves, the only thing that matters is the kill count. Pero agrees. The protagonist smirks. They're here, the friends who will help him execute a true extermination. He welcomes the squad, telling them he's got presents. First up, Clyde. There's an old tradition of a lord gifting a blade to his knight. This one's yours. Clyde is hyped and thanks the boss, but he instantly feels the aura. Is this thing burning? It's not hot to the touch, though. The protagonist drops the info. It's infused with flame spirit fire. He asks about the weight. Clyde swings it. It's perfect. Feather light. The protagonist thinks to himself, the sword chose him. Talk to it, he advises. It buffs the stats if you bond with it. Eren looks shocked. The protagonist catches her eye. Don't get jealous. Your loot is right there. She looks at the blade and thanks him, but suddenly the room gets breezy. A gust of wind spirals out from the weapon. Wind spirit sword, he confirms. Eren's eyes light up. I love it. She apologizes, asking for the green light to unsheath it right now. Uren nods. Do it. He tells Clyde to follow suit. The duo starts gassing him up, promising they'll crush the next fight. The protagonist laughs. You little rascals. Pero sighs, clearly envious of the god-tier weapons. The protagonist winks. Don't worry, I'll hook you up with something good next time. But first, it is time to settle the score. He strides into the back room, leaving Piero completely floored by the mountain of gold coins stacked to the ceiling. Urien declares he is paying back the loan with interest, massive interest. The butler is shook, realizing this is tens of times more than the original debt. It clicks for Piero instantly. His master is not just a dark magic prodigy, he is a god-tier gambler. Urien tries to play it cool and brushes off the praise. But the cash flow does not stop there. He tells Piero to take the funds and secure poisons from a different supplier. Next up, he summons Girinox. He checks in on the blacksmith, asking how the new setup is treating him. Girinox beams, saying the new forge is a dream, and everyone has been treating him like royalty. The protagonist reveals he found worthy owners for the weapons he bought. Girinox's eyes widen. He asks if he means the legendary greatsword and the rapier. Urien confirms the weapons accepted their new masters, promising a demo later. Girinox lets out a breath he was holding, totally relieved. The smith confesses he thought those blades were total flops. The protagonist shuts that down, calling them masterpieces that just needed the right hands. Girinox gets emotional, thanking Urien for betting on a failure like him. But his expression darkens. He has been doing some digging. There is something the young master needs to know. Urien asks for the tea, and the blacksmith drops a bombshell. There is major corruption rotting the Marquisate from the inside. Cut to the Marquis' office. Wellington stares down his son, demanding to know what kind of game he is playing and what went wrong. Urian begs for official clearance, but his father is not buying it yet. The Marquis snaps back that authority is earned, not handed out like candy. The protagonist looks his father dead in the eye, reminding him that ever since the Ilya incident woke him up, he has not dropped the ball once. Trust me, give me the power, and I won't let you down. Wellington sighs, defeated by his son's intensity. He caves, promising to have the butler draft the permit by tomorrow, but there is a catch. It is valid for exactly 24 hours. Urian bows in thanks. He turns to leave, business concluded. As the door clicks shut, Wellington curses himself, realizing he is a total softie whenever the kid calls him father. He wonders how much chaos his son could possibly cause in a single day. Cut to the next morning. Piero reports a delivery crew is at the gates. They claim the Marquis sent them. Urian smirks, right on schedule. It is showtime. He orders every male servant to the entrance to haul the cargo. He has got a different destination, so he heads straight for the armory. A butler hands over the Marquis' writ of authority. Urian snatches it up, but pauses, asking for the Marchioness's current location. The servant replies, she is in the drawing room, sipping tea. Perfect target. Urian issues a cold command, tell the Marchioness to grab an inspector and meet him at Armory number 1 this afternoon. Mess up this message, and you'll wish you were never born. He arrives at the armory, but the guards block his path. They recite the unauthorized personnel script. Urian gestures to the massive convoy of crates behind him, asking if they are blind. The guard nods nervously. The protagonist explains this is top-tier gear from the Ars territory, and he needs to stash it. He demands they open the gates immediately. The guard stammers, insisting the armory manager has to be present for protocol. Urian counters that the guy should have been summoned yesterday. If anything goes sideways in there, he wants to be the first to know. He spots a figure sprinting toward them. Speak of the devil, here comes the manager. The breathless official asks what the heck is going on. Urian states the obvious. He brought war gear for the expedition. Open the doors, now. The manager starts sweating, apologizing, but claiming the armory is on total lockdown without a permit. The protagonist flashes the paper in his face. Here's your permit. Open it. The manager has no choice but to comply, but he tries to set boundaries, saying Urian can store items but absolutely cannot touch existing inventory. The crew starts hauling boxes. Urian casually suggests a quality check and orders a box to be brought over. The manager panics, claiming that needs a special separate authorization. The protagonist ignores the bureaucracy, insisting on seeing just one. The manager caves, saying he will handle it personally. He gently sets a box down, acting like nothing is wrong. Urian asks for a status report on the weapon quality. Girinox inspects the new arrival and gives a thumbs up, it is decent gear. The protagonist nods, acting impressed. He praises the manager loudly, suggesting a promotion is in order. Then the trap snaps shut. Bring out all the other boxes. Every single one. Don't leave a scrap behind. The manager loses it, screaming that Urian is abusing his power. Heir or not, you can't do this. Urian literally slaps the man across the face with the authorization paper. Don't make me laugh. He glares at the trembling official, asking why he is still playing dumb. Suddenly, Wellington's voice booms from behind. The Marquis demands an explanation for the racket. Urian points to the open doors. I cleared out the armory. Take a look. Wellington walks up to a crate and lifts a sword. He scoffs. It is a rusted piece of junk, completely useless. He turns on the inspector with lethal calmness, demanding to know why the report from a month ago said everything was perfect. The inspector stammers, accusing Urian of hiding the real weapons. Urian laughs in his face, calling out the gaslighting. There is zero chance he could have destroyed an entire armory's worth of steel in 1 month. This was an inside job, and he just brought the receipts. The inspector is literally suffocating, crushed by the invisible weight in the room. He hits the floor, knees buckling, admitting he screwed up and begging for his life. Wellington shouts for his son, totally confused. Urian steps up, cool as ice, explaining this is exactly why he needed that high-level clearance. And it wasn't an isolated incident. Every single armory, even the food supply chain, the whole system, was rotting from the inside out. Sure, maybe they could survive this year's campaign, but give it a few years, the entire military infrastructure would collapse. The higher-ups might be feasting and swinging shiny steel during wartime, but Urian, he's only worried about the grunts on the front lines. When leadership fails, it's the soldiers who pay the price, forced to march with broken gear and eat rations that are basically poison. And Urian doesn't do forgiveness for people who gamble with human lives. He kicks open a crate, boom, swords, heavy armor, and riot shields sourced straight from the Ars territory. We're talking S-tier quality, impeccable craftsmanship. He orders them to scrap the garbage gear and suit up with this instead. But here's the kicker. This conspiracy goes way deeper than anyone thought. He demands that every single person involved gets punished. Wellington is reeling, asking what's going on, but Urian, he's already walking away. He figures he's played his part. Any more interference would be overstepping. The cleanup is on the Marquis now. Cut to a few days later. Wellington calls Urian in. The Marquis looks tired, but admits he dug into the intel, and the kid was right. He uncovered the full scale of the corruption, thanks to Urian's tip. It was time to officially close the case. Urine just nods, keeping it professional. His dad admits the rot had spread to every arsenal and food depot in the network. The list of people involved was massive. But the real betrayal, the arsenal manager, and that inspector, these were veterans who served for decades stabbing the family in the back. It absolutely broke the old man's heart. Urine reminds him that he hunted down every single rat. The Marquis is still baffled by how fast they spilled their guts, total transparency. They were singing like canaries, confessing crimes nobody even asked about. Urine smirks internally. That's the magic of his new truth serum. Wellington gets heavy for a second. This whole mess was a wake-up call. He remembers back when he first took the title. The former king chewed him out in front of the entire court. It was mortifying. But honestly, the truth bombs his son dropped hurt way more. It was humiliating because it was true. Urine brought facts and solutions. Wellington realizes he's the one who failed as a father. He lowers his head, actually apologizing to his son for being such a disappointment. Urine holds the gaze for a beat but shuts it down. He reminds his dad that he spent years being a total menace before straightening out. Humans mess up. It happens. His father sighs, half annoyed at the smart mouth. Cut to the bedroom. Peru is back with the goods. A potent neurotoxin. Urine needs this specific brew because those aquatic monsters struggle to breathe on land, and he's going to exploit that. Solid work, Urine says. Peru hesitates, looking at him sideways, asking if the young master has checked the headlines lately. Apparently Urine is trending outside the empire. Urine frowns skeptical. No way, that can't be right. Peru insists. While he was out hunting for poisons, the streets were talking. People are genuinely moved. They heard he was looking out for the common soldier, buying top-tier gear with his own cash. Urine scoffs. My bad boy reputation isn't that easy to scrub. You don't go from villain to hero overnight. But Peru keeps going. People are literally fighting to volunteer for the expedition now. Peru looks at him with awe. Did you plan this? You're actually a genius. Recruitment issues, gone. They won't have any trouble finding troops. Urine just waves him off, dismissing the praise. Peru leaves the room. Alone, Urine admits he never saw the PR boost coming. Total happy accident. Back to the grind. He starts mixing a new lethal cocktail. Boom skill. Unlocked immunity of 100 poisons. No more pain, no more side effects. Absorbing toxins doesn't hurt anymore. It actually feels comfortable. This ability is a total cheat code. The next morning, the blue system screen pops up. New poison created, Hagen the Serpent Slayer. A single drop deletes a human life without leaving a trace. Urine notes he was aiming for a different unlock, but hey, stumbling upon a legendary poison, he'll take it. It means his divine poison energizing technique must have hit intermediate rank. More energy equals deadlier toxins. Morning comes, Peru knocks. Urine's pumped. Perfect timing, get in here. We need to cook. I need you to prep these ingredients like yesterday. Peru stares at the list. It's miles long. Urine confirms thinking budget isn't an issue anymore. Chugging poison is easier than drinking water now. He's planning to use this boost to smash through to the 5th star realm, but he hits a ceiling. The breakthrough fails. Cut to departure day. The entire army is massed up. Peru leans in, looking anxious. You good? Young Master Urine blinks, surprised by the concern. The butler says, the difference is night and day. The other young masters roll up with massive armies while Urine is standing there with, literally just Aaron and Clyde. It begs the question, why did he turn down every single volunteer? Urine insists he's got a master plan cooking. His brothers bust out laughing, treating him like a total joke, but Urine just glares at them. He asks what's so funny, before vowing to take these morons to school. Suddenly, the vibe shifts. The Marquis is in the building. Wellington barks out orders, demanding everyone get on their feet for a head count immediately. The Marquis doesn't waste time with long speeches. He keeps it 100, he'll be on the front lines, staring death in the face. Where they go, he goes. It is do or die for their homeland. Urine realizes the expedition is officially live, and just like that, the 3 brothers are split up, each deployed to their own personal war zone. Fast forward 2 days and they pull up to the danger zone. Our main character doesn't hesitate. He commands the gates open and drops his name like he owns the place. Hans, the wall commander, rushes out to greet the young master. But the moment he scans Urine's battalion, his face drops. He points out the obvious: they are severely lacking in manpower. Urine plays dumb, asking what the issue is. So Hans spells it out for him. It is Volak season, and hundreds of those beasts are about to swarm this place. Looking at the numbers, Hans knows the math isn't mathing. It is impossible to hold the line with this crew. He is practically begging to know if backup is on the way. The reality is grim. In a few days, the entire coastline is going to be a mosh pit of sea monsters. If those things breach the waterways, it is over. The walls will crumble, the gates will fall, and everyone dies. Sitting behind the defense line isn't an option. They have to go out there and exterminate the threat. Hans completely loses his cool, screaming that stopping a monster wave with just 5 knights is suicide. Urine cuts him off with a smirk. Correction, there aren't 5 knights. He points to the back. That guy, he is just a butler from the estate.